Experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Need a new roof, a deck, siding, windows? Get up to $3,000 off any new installation. Hi, it's Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Home projects can add up fast, but we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. That's Revive, R-E-V-I-B-E, menshealth.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO-FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Peter King. The Trump administration and Pope Francis have had many public disagreements, but the president has ordered all flags on federal buildings to fly at half-staff in his memory.
He was a good man, worked hard. He loved the world, and it's an honor to do that.
Francis is being remembered as a generous man of heart and spirit. CBS News consultant Monsignor Anthony Figueroa.
Even in death, he said, we can continue to love, we can continue to give of ourselves, and that, I really believe, is what Francis wants us to do.
The Vatican announced the Pope's death early this morning, weeks after he was hospitalized for 38 days with double pneumonia, and just a day after his last appearance in public at St. Peter's Square. Just last year, CBS News correspondent Nora O'Donnell had a wide-ranging interview with the Pope. He's heard here through an interpreter.
When you look at the world, what gives you hope?
Todo.
Everything.
You
see tragedies, but you also see so many beautiful things. You see heroic mothers, heroic men who have hopes and dreams, women who look to the future. That gives me a lot of hope.
With the Pope's death comes speculation about who his successor should and will be. A conclave to elect a new pope is probably 3 weeks or so away. Monsignor Kevin Irwin is a New York priest and former dean at Catholic University School of Theology and Religious Studies.
When he was hospitalized, the cardinals began to think, who's going to be next? Before the conclave, there are several days of meetings of the cardinals when they give speeches, and that's kind of the beginning of real discussion about who it should be.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is downplaying reports that he included his wife and brother on a secret chat about U.S. attacks on Yemen using the Signal app. Instead, he blames the media for reporting it.
We're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters, and anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter.
The president says he still stands behind Hegseth. It's Marathon Day in Boston. The men's division has a winner, as seen and heard on ESPN.
John Creer is the man who is going to meet the moment in Boston. Champion of the 129th Boston Marathon.
Creer is from Kenya and joins his brother Wesley as a Boston Marathon winner. They say investing is a marathon too, but it's become too much for some investors to bear right now. The Dow is down nearly 1,100 points. The Nasdaq has lost 509. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Western Washington remembers Pope Francis. The story coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. A crash is blocking all lanes westbound on the 520 bridge. You are backed up from I-5 almost to midspan. Travel time, Bellevue to Seattle, 24 minutes, about 10 longer than typical, but you can expect that to grow. In Auburn, a crash is blocking a lane on State Route 18 westbound at State Route 167. Traffic brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Through April, Lake Washington Windows is paying your sales tax plus giving you 18 months to pay them. For details, visit lakewashingtonwindows.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch.
Wow. That's really sad.
People outside Seattle's St. James Cathedral reacting to the death of Pope Francis.
I just said some prayers right away.
The Pope died this morning, a day after making his last public appearance on Easter Sunday to bless thousands of people in St. Peter's Square. Pope Francis was 88. Washington State Senator Bill Ramos died suddenly over the weekend. His wife, King County Councilmember Sarah Perry, wrote on social media that he passed away while on a trail run Saturday night. The 69-year-old Ramos represented Renton, Issaquah, Maple Valley, and Snoqualmie. His family plans to share memorial details soon. A former handyman is expected to make his first court appearance today in the death of Tenino grandmother Marcia Norman. KIRO 7 TV's Eric Thomas.
Her family, Norman's, releasing a statement saying, quote, "We are cooperating fully with the investigation in an effort to come to a resolution regarding the manner of her death. Our family is grieving and looking for ways to honor her memory."
Jeffrey Ziz is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and unlawful disposal of human remains. Police are searching for the motorcyclist who injured two pedestrians in a hit-and-run in South Seattle Friday night. Neighbors tell KIRO 7 TV's Deborah Horn people often drive recklessly through MLK Way in South Alaska.
Patrol officers arrived to find a 57-year-old woman and a 59-year-old man lying in the middle of MLK Junior Way South.
I am concerned about speed in this area.
You should just know better than to be running red lights like that.
If you are the motorcyclist, you're asked to turn yourself in.
The woman was critically injured. In Grays Harbor County, authorities have seized at least 80 birds from a cockfighting operation. The animals are recovering at Hartwood Haven, where Kate Cirklovich tells KIRO 7 TV.
We used to not hear about any cockfighting busts, and now there are probably at least half a dozen every year.
Some of the roosters are now up for adoption. The hottest team in baseball, the Seattle Mariners, after a big series win in Toronto. It included Cal Raleigh's league-leading 9th home run of the season.
Now the pitch to Cal, swinging a well-hit ball, deep to left field, down the line, and goodbye baseball.
The M's start a 3-game series against the Red Sox in Boston tomorrow. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly cloudy skies with highs today in the upper 50s. It's 45 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to all of you. It is April 21st already. G is out today. Angela Poe Russell is in. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ursula.
So fun.
Yeah, I'm excited I get to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We have a super packed show for all of you. Hey, Seattle has been sweeping homeless tents at breakneck speed, but at the same time, the city's not adding any more shelters. So you and I have the question, where are all the unhoused going? We'll look into that coming up at 9:30. As always, we invite you to join us on the KIRO News Radio text line. The number is 888-973-5476, 888-973-KIRO. And Angela, this is the last time you and I worked together. A new big thing is that we're on YouTube now.
Oh, we are? I did not. Hi, YouTube.
Hi. Anyway, so we invite you to join our community there as well. We had a whole lot of fun with it last week. It was just one more distraction for G. So he loved interacting.
Oh my gosh! So I could go there and interact on the.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. And I was talking about creating Ursula's dating site out of our YouTube community.
Ursula's
so we'll see how
dating. Okay, I got to know more. I got to know more.
But again, we've got a full show for you, so we are going to get going. These are our top stories at 9, brought to you by Bathfitter Northwest. He was known as the People's Pope. Early this morning, Pope Francis died at the age of 88. On Easter Sunday, he appeared briefly on a Vatican balcony to bless the faithful in St. Peter's Square. Then he later rode in an open-air Pope-mobile through tens of thousands of people for what turned out to be his final farewell. John Allen is the editor of Crux, a Catholic website.
His papacy was all about proximity to the people from beginning to the end. This was a pope who wanted to break down barriers. The Latin term for a pope is Pontifex Maximus, and Pontifex literally means a bridge builder. A ponte is a bridge. And from the beginning to the end, over these 12 years, that was how Pope Francis saw his role. He wanted to build bridges between the Catholic Church and the world outside the Church, between other Christians, followers of other religions, and people of no religious faith at all.
Pope Francis was the first pope from the Americas, as well as the first Jesuit pope. He was only recently released from the hospital after he was admitted with double pneumonia, where he was treated for nearly 40 days. And Angela, CBS's Chris Livesay is in Vatican City, and he explains what is going to happen next.
About 8 o'clock local time, his body will be placed in a coffin. He's then going to lie in state for about 4 to 6 days, at which point he will be buried. There's a 9-day period of mourning, which has just begun. And then, of course, there is the conclave, when cardinals from all around the world descend on Rome to elect the next pope.
So I was hoping to spend a little bit of time just reflecting on this pope and what Pope Francis brought and what his legacy would be.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say, I mean, seeing the image yesterday of him, knowing he just had this, health crisis and just like, wow, he's out and about. He was like, I'm going to get in the Pope mobile. I mean, he met with our vice president. That was Easter. A huge deal. And so when I saw on social media this morning saying, hey, he just met with J.D. Vance, and this, I was like, this has to be, like, this can't be. I mean, it's always just, I remember being in D.C. when we lost another pope, and it's just, I don't know, even if you are not Catholic, it's just such this larger-than-life figure, this representative that plays a huge role on the international stage. It still hits.
Yes, for sure. And in particular, Pope Francis, I would say, when I think of the word humility, that is something that he fully embraced. He always called for a more merciful and inclusive church, and was really focused on the marginalized in our society. And one of the things, and I know that within the Catholic Church, is, how do you evolve with the times while still respecting and trying to he represents the whole world of Catholics, where some parts of the world are not ready to change. And one of the things was that, do you remember 4 months after he was elected Pope, a journalist had asked him a question about gay priests. And he shocked everyone because his response was, if a person is gay and seeks God and has goodwill, who am I to judge? Which was at the time considered, boy, that was really going out there. And then in January of 2023, he was interviewed by the Associated Press, and he declared that being gay is not a crime and that laws criminalizing it were unjust.
Yeah. Angering, I'm sure, some in the Catholic faith. And I think that was just notable about him, that he was divisive in that sense of, because any movement you anger, being Catholic is diverse, just like any religion is diverse in terms of your beliefs and how strictly you feel like you should hold to a particular doctrine. I'm so glad you brought that up. I completely forgot about that.
Well, there was, because I remember distinctly, one of my sons sent me a text message and said, this is so great that the Pope is doing this. But again, there are many Catholics who are like, no, that's going too far. And he never really made it beyond that, but at least he was open to that conversation. He was also known to, again, the word humility comes up because he said he wanted to be buried in a wooden coffin. He was not all about the pomp and the circumstance. He was more about being seen as the people's pope. He would drive around in this very small car to his official meetings and ceremonies, And so I would love to hear from folks who are reacting to the death of the Pope. 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO, whether you're Catholic or not.
Yeah. And can I just say, as a cap on that, just that humility you speak of, isn't that the way servants, religious servants, and I call them servants, ministers, those who are leading the church are supposed to be?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
and he
my
embodied
opinion.
that.
Yes, for sure.
4 current and former Seattle police officers who attended the Stop the Steal rally on January 6th want the U.S. Supreme Court now to block the release of their identities. So a total of 6 SPD officers attended that rally, which was more than any other police department in the country. And then Police Chief Adrian Diaz fired married officers Caitlin and Alexander Everett after an investigation found that they had crossed the barriers that were set up by the Capitol Police that day. But that same investigation by the Office of Police Accountability found that 3 other officers had not violated policies, and the 4th case was inconclusive. So now those 4 officers are saying they did nothing wrong, and that having their names out in the public would be a violation of their First Amendment rights to their privacy and free speech. And those who are demanding the release of their names say, you know what? You attended a public demonstration. It's something that's been widely covered in the news, and so you don't have the expectation of privacy in that case. The state court of appeals sided with the officers, but the state Supreme Court later reversed that decision, ruling that the officers don't have a right to remain anonymous. So again, now they're trying to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. What do you think?
Whenever you attend a public event where any reasonable person in the area can see you, I just don't know that legally you have a right to privacy. I mean, and so that's one aspect. And I mean, I'll let, at this point, the attorneys in the court sort that out. But the latest, just to confirm, is that the state Supreme Court has said you don't have a constitutional right to privacy as they see it.
So now they want to take it to the U.S. Supreme Court.
So then I guess the question for all of us, I mean, what do you think if you're listening to this? Do you feel like the officer's name should be public since they attended? So, I mean, that's a question. So my opinion, I'll share mine. You can weigh in on yours, 888-973-5476. But if you did nothing wrong, then why are you opposed to having your name out there? I mean, they talk about potential harassment. I don't know. Please, in all humility, I will say, I don't know if the officers who were out there have been harassed or have had violence committed against them. So I don't have that information. At least none has been reported. So, and I'll also add that I have met many people who are in prison just because they were there when a crime happened. Accessory, I mean, they talk about getting caught up. I was there when this person did X. I remember Ursula going to a rally in 2020, and I was there, to protest like the discrimination and what had happened to George Floyd. And as soon as I saw things go down, and it wasn't everybody, it was a few people. But as soon as I saw that there were signs like all cops are bad, and I saw just things starting to get out of control, I got the heck out of there. Mm-hmm. I mean, you get out. So at some point, if you stay in a situation where you're seeing things deteriorate, then you're culpable.
So I would say the problem for us is we don't know what it is. There was an investigation that found that they did not violate any sort of policy. Yep. So, and I will disagree that I think even if they did nothing wrong, they could be castigated by the public, because just the decision to go to a rally called Stop the Steal, I think, would be enough for people to question whether you were in your right mind to attend something like that if you were a police officer. But again, they did it in their own private time. So I guess even though as a journalist I say, transparency and more information, et cetera, I could argue that point. I also understand their point, where what is it going to do to release their names other than to potentially have people say, these officers are terrible because they attended this rally, even if they did nothing, and maybe they did hightail out of there when things started going wrong.
You probably look at their arrest records, right, and say, okay, do we see some sort of political or racial bias happening? These are officers who are supposed to understand an evidentiary standard, and despite 60 court decisions, they were still there to protest a lawful election? What does that say about how they're applying those standards to policing? There are some questions it does raise.
Sure. I think that's a fair point when you're able to get the names and then look at their history or their record and see if there's any pattern of abuse or things like that that haven't risen to the level of being fired because, as you know, people can somehow stay employed despite marks against them. But I get your point.
Yeah.
They've
already been investigated at this point.
I just love how diplomatic you are on this. I'm really struggling to
I'm
feel
trying to because
sympathy.
I'm also working it against my own bias.
Yeah, which is fair.
Which
fair.
I would look and I say, like, why, as a police officer, would you want to be there? Something called Stop the Steal. But I also understand they did it. They were investigated. They did it under their own time. Did they anticipate that this was going to happen? What ended up happening, and the idea that there wouldn't be some people who would want to retaliate after knowing, okay, now we know who was there. I mean, for me, it wouldn't make a difference unless I could see that there was a history of them acting unfairly.
I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I can't unsee those images. I can't unsee it.
Oh, trust me. Me too. 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. It was another weekend of protests against President Trump and his actions since he took office in January. More than 30 rallies were held around the state, including in Whidbey Island. And on Saturday morning, hundreds of protesters had gathered when they suddenly heard gunshots. Susan Jensen tells King 5 News until she heard that gunfire, the Day of Action rally in Langley was a positive community event.
Kids were playing here, making wonderful chalk art. People were singing. We had drummers. It was more of a celebration and a rally than it was a protest. I protested in the 60s. I fought for women's rights and civil rights and against the war, and here we are again fighting for that and more. This is the scariest time I've ever seen in my life.
But then, and as soon as she heard the shots, Jensen hit the deck.
So I fell to the ground. When you're 81 years old, you don't want to fall to the ground because you can break your hip.
Now, it turns out, according to the Island County Sheriff's Office, a guy was legally discharging a firearm in his own yard near that protest. And of course, Fuller and others believe this was an attempt to drive the protesters away.
I've gone to protests, but I've never experienced gunshots before. And yeah, that's concerning. It's freedom of speech. We have a right to be here without being intimidated.
So she says she's not going to be deterred. She's going to show up to the next rally to make sure that her voice is heard.
You know, I just hate it. I don't know about you all, but you know when someone does something wrong and they get off on a technicality? I hate that. And it feels like that's the situation here, where you clearly were trying to intimidate, but I'm technically on my yard discharging a firearm, so I'm good. I'm legally within my own right to do so, because I think for a lot of people, no matter how passionate you are, if you're out there, because when we protested that time several years ago, I had my kids with me. And like I said, as a parent, as soon as I start seeing a threat of violence, my instinct is to protect my children. So that is a form. Okay, I don't know how often we report gunshots on Whidbey Island. Okay, let's talk about that. So that would make me a little bit afraid in the future to go out for fear of what some of these people might do. Mm-hmm. Ursula, we just had someone try to get into the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. And have you seen the images of his burned out living room?
Yes.
I mean, they set fire to his I mean, we are in a climate where people are doing crazy, violent things. And someone firing a gun while a protest is happening is a clear point of intimidation. And I just hate that this person's able to get away with it on a technicality.
I think you're 100% right. I love the spirit of the women who were interviewed by King 5 News, and they're saying, hey, we're not going to stop. I appreciate, we've spent so much time talking about all the things that are happening and feeling helpless, and you know, a lot of folks saying, you know, where are people in Congress fighting? What I think is actually very enlightening is the number of people who are willing to take time out of their weekends and protesting, however you feel about what is going on, but taking the time to actually go out there and protest.
Yes, to go out and get involved in policy, make your voice heard.
Yes.
That's all. We should be celebrating that as an American, however you feel, because it is a peaceful First Amendment, free speech thing that we do here in America.
Exactly. Okay, still ahead. So if you have been to downtown Seattle or anywhere in Seattle, you've probably noticed, wow, there are fewer tents. The mayor had promised that homeless tents would be cleared. But what is happening to the people, to the unhoused people? The clearings have happened at breakneck speed, but we're going to talk about what is happening in terms of, are we building more shelter? And if not, where are they going? That's coming up next on the Gee and Ursula Show.
For decades, KIRO Newsradio has been your go-to source for reliable news.
Traffic got worse in Seattle last year.
Seattle drivers squandered over $1,100 in lost time and productivity just sitting in traffic.
We're here to help guide you through the complexities of today's world, offering insights that allow you to see the bigger picture.
I want to dig into some of the numbers to just show you how much our transportation needs are being ignored and underfunded.
Trust KIRO Newsradio to keep you informed and connected.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
DayandNight.net.
Your old water heater, she's starting to peter.
DayandNight.net.
Plumbing emergency? Don't feel trapped. Do the smart thing and get a second opinion. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. I guarantee you, whether Day and Night is your first choice or smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
DayandNight.net.
You've seen the headlines. Budget crisis, government emergency, billions of dollars short. No, not the federal government. It's happening here in Washington state. State tax revenues are at record highs. Over the next 4 years, tax revenue is on pace to grow by $10 billion. But current spending will outpace that revenue growth by $12 billion. Want to learn more about the growth of state taxes and spending over the last decade? Visit budgetbreakdown.org.
Dave Ross with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine, and Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar this Thursday at 6 p.m. to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And remind us which joints you've had the best success with.
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures, so if you are in pain, join him this Thursday, 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. drmarkwagnermd.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at
FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Cars for Kids, your trusted charity for car donations, also accepts donations of boats, RVs, motorcycles, and real estate. Call today, 877-CARS4KIDS.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. The process was simple and easy. I scheduled my free consultation and discovered I was at the early stage of cataracts and a perfect candidate for RLE. They restored clarity and brightness to my vision like when I was in my 20s, and I'll never need readers again and never develop cataracts. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens are taking RLE surgery to the next level. Call them now at 425-451-2020 or go online to sharp-vision.com, official eye care provider of Sounders FC.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave.
Oh, what a beautiful day.
This is regular deodorant.
Ugh, I can't.
Secret Clinical with workout sweat.
Let's run another marathon.
And regular deodorant.
How much more?
Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better.
Stay fresher under pressure.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, don't neglect maintenance on your vehicle. Keep it safe. At Bucky's Complete Auto, we have you covered with available financing. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
CBS News special report. The Vatican's church bell tolling 88 times for Pope Francis, dead at 88.
He's now at peace, and I just feel immense gratitude for all that he gave to the church.
Catholic theologian Tina Beattie says Francis defied easy definitions.
It would be wrong to describe him as progressive or liberal. These are political labels that don't map neatly onto leaders of the Catholic Church, but he certainly brought about a more pastorally sensitive and compassionate ethos in the church.
An ethos that emphasized compassion for the poor and the marginalized, one that brought a rare papal intervention in politics earlier this year when he told U.S. bishops that mass deportations are wrong.
Minister to you, Father.
Vice President and Catholic convert J.D. Vance meeting a frail pope at the Vatican yesterday.
Good to see you in better health.
Vance sending his condolences, along with the White House, which posted on X, "Rest in peace, Pope Francis." CBS News special report. I'm Vicki Barker, live from the Foreign Desk in London.
And I'm Heather Bosch in Seattle, where people are remembering the Pope. Live to KIRO 7 TV's Luke Ducey, who is outside St. James Cathedral. Luke.
Heather, Daily Mass just ended here at the cathedral. Earlier outside the cathedral, I spoke with Father Gary Lazzaroni, who has been to Mass with the Pope. I asked him what was it like being in the presence of Pope Francis.
It's a holy experience. He was so genuine and warm and welcoming.
In a statement this morning, the Archdiocese of Seattle called the last public appearance by Pope Francis yesterday on Easter Sunday a wonderful gift to the world. Live in Seattle, Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is again using an app to share information about airstrikes in Yemen. CBS's Eleanor Watson is at the Pentagon.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth sent sensitive details about military strikes in a second Signal chat that included his brother and his wife. Sources told CBS News the second chat also included information about timing and types of targets F-18 fighter jets would hit on March 15th, the same details that were in the chat that mistakenly included the editor at The Atlantic.
President Trump today is reasserting his tariffs will put the U.S. on the right track.
I think we're doing really well. We're all set.
But analysts say Trump's tariff talk and his criticism of Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell have sent stocks falling today. The Dow is down more than 1,000 points. NASDAQ is off 482. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, a crash is blocking a lane westbound on the 520 bridge. Your backup is easing, but it still extends from about I-5 to mid-span. Travel time Bellevue to Seattle, 26 minutes, about 15 longer than typical. In Bothell, a crash is blocking a lane on I-405 near Northeast 160th Street. You're backed up from Woodinville to Canyon Park. Travel time Alderwood to South Center is 51 minutes, 10 longer than usual. Traffic brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Through April, Lake Washington Windows is paying your sales tax plus giving you 18 months to pay for them. Details, visit lakewashingtonwindows.com. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly cloudy skies today with highs in the upper 50s. Right now it is 48 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out today. Angela Poe Russell is in. And if you recall, when Mayor Bruce Harrell was running for office, he had promised that he was going to do something about the homeless encampments in Seattle. And he has done something, and you have some statistics on that.
I do. So here's some details. A report in the Seattle Times highlights that Seattle broke a record on the number of tents removed. City officials say the mayor has reduced the number of tents in the city from more than 1,500 to 215. That's a huge decrease. The report says he has removed encampments by more than 5,000 times in his first 3 years.
Wow.
That's the number of removals. Homeless advocates say it's true. There are far fewer tents, but that we haven't reduced the number of homeless people. Between 2022 and 2024, the number of people living on the streets of King County grew more than 27%, from 7,600 to nearly 10,000. That's according to the Regional Homeless Authority, which Harrell is a board member of. So, Ursula, I know you've lived in Seattle for a long time. What was your reaction to this news?
On the first part, Mayor Harrell is living up to his promises of doing something about the tents that were popping up everywhere. And especially during the pandemic, it seemed like they really grew out of control because of a number of reasons. But the idea that, they need to have a place to live, and so living in the tents, and they're not going to move them, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought that was the wrong approach. Now, the thing that is worrisome to me is that during the same time, the mayor will even admit, according to the Seattle Times, that we haven't created more shelter space. So where is everybody going? So one of the thoughts is that people who are unhoused are moving deeper into the woods, which does not sound like a more humane thing to happen.
It definitely makes some populations more vulnerable, going deeper into the woods, not as many access to resources. If something goes wrong, not having access to help, that kind of thing. So that is one concern about this. I do think, though, as I read deeper into the article, it is true we have increased spending on encampment removal, and it's slightly decreased on the shelter beds, but we're still spending a ton of money. And I think he has announced major initiatives to increase housing in the city. That just takes time to build and put in place. As a Seattle resident, I feel great about this. I feel like that you have to have some bottom lines and some go-no-goes. And we, in my opinion, we're in a fight for survival in this city. I mean, if we go back to right after the pandemic, so many friends of mine left to go to Bellevue. They were like, this is getting ridiculous. I don't feel safe here anymore. It's a hot mess. I can't access the parks. So I think we had, especially once the Supreme Court gave cities the ability to do this, then it was like, all right, let's go. But I'm not a fan of us foregoing outreach and offering people those services. But I think we had to do this.
Well, I think that the tents needed to go. My concern is that, okay, it looks better, but are we really addressing the problem? And I think one of the issues that I have with we're spending more, but more people are still homeless, is that I don't think we're being creative enough in terms of what is additional housing. I think that so much emphasis is put on that permanent housing, or the housing that is so much more expensive to build and takes so much more time, yet people are languishing, and are they getting the services that they need? Mm-hmm. Again, I mean, I'm in favor of not having tents everywhere, but you can't just do it for the purpose of so it's convenient for me not to be able to see it. Yeah, right? No. I mean, it needs to be like, what are we doing to address the root of the problem?
Yeah.
And
I mean, we're still spending, I was sitting here looking for the graphic. We're still spending, I'm trying to get the exact number for you guys. Okay, and why can't I find it? Well, here it is. We're still spending in 2025 $69 million on shelters. So we're still spending $69 million.
So is it
It's a little
money
bit
being
down from
effectively
75.
spent?
I mean, that's a question I definitely have for the mayor's office. I do know, he's been in office 3 years. I know there have been these partnerships announced. The tech companies have jumped in with building housing, with the idea being that if we get more supply, it'll help drive down the price and help people. And I think all of these bills that have been presented by state lawmakers, local lawmakers to address rental regulations. I don't want to say rent control because that can trigger people in all kinds of ways. But being able to have measures in place to keep people from being evicted in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm hopeful that I don't think we're abandoning this effort. I don't want to see people just not cared for in terms of what they need. I just see, so I think we can do both. And yeah. I feel good about where we're at.
The only reason I don't feel good about it is I feel like it's out of sight, out of mind. Mm. And yeah, we've swept the camps, but the idea that right now we've got shelters, according to the Seattle Times, and it's according to the Regional Homelessness Authority, the existing units are full. Because Dan in Maple Valley just texted that the newsflash, the shelters are not full. At any point, 95% of beds are filled, with turnover accounting for some of the vacancy. So on average, people are waiting for months to get into housing. And so how do you do the sweeps at a record pace, which again is what he promised, but at the same time, we're not creating more shelter space.
I have a question on
this. So they're
this.
moving into places where we just can't see them.
So some of our listeners have written, they're moving all to Bremerton. They're moving to the south end. Talk to the mayors of Kent, Renton, and Auburn.
Yes.
For years, we've heard how Seattle's homeless policy was bleeding homeless people into other areas. I don't know if that was true, but it certainly seems like it is now that they're enforcing it. Is that what people want in other cities?
Well, and I know that the mayor heard loud and clear that people were really upset about the tents. So is it what? No, it's going to only be a matter of time. Burion's already done it. It's going to be a matter of time before all those other cities have the same kind of things on the books, and then they're going to have to move again, which is, again, you need to have, whether it is tiny home villages, whether it is just more temporary housing to get them, to help them get on the right pathway.
And this article, it did point out, which is why it's good to really, which I know you and I do, we try to do a good job of reading all the reports. It did say that the number of people accepting the shelter did decline by a bit.
And that's another issue.
Yeah. And
because
so that's
again,
why
they don't want to address some of the drug addiction and mental health issues that they're suffering from as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had someone text in talking about that whole idea of hitting bottom, and until people hit bottom, they often don't change. And he doesn't also want people to be in the woods in a way where they can't be checked on. So I feel optimistic that maybe what we have going in the city is a great balance where we're setting boundaries, but we're also putting money towards long-term solutions. And hopefully, to your point, Ursula, some short-term ones.
Coming up next, we are going to talk about pensions.
Ooh.
I mean, the
Who
reason
gets
we're
those
talking
anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I would like
right?
a pension.
Yeah, well, and we want to know, are some people gaming the system, and do you blame them for gaming the system? So we're going to do a deep dive into that coming up next on the Gee and Ursula Show.
At KIRO Newsradio, our commitment goes beyond delivering the latest headlines.
Authorities say they've busted a violent drug trafficking ring in Seattle.
Mayor Bruce Harrell says this operation should go a long way toward putting a stop to crime in the CID.
We dive deep into the stories that matter, helping you understand the impact on your community and your life.
Even if you do get caught, you're gonna probably get a small little smack on the hand.
You can have your opinions, I can have mine.
KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
Are insurance companies taking you for a ride? Literally? Don't let them destroy your financial future. If you've been in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is your weapon against greedy insurers. They don't care about you, but Just Cause Legal does. Time is running out. Get the compensation you deserve. Call 253-859-8899 now or visit justcauselegal.com. Don't wait until it's too late. Take back control and fight for what's yours. Meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal, fighting for you.
With everything going on these days, it's more important than ever to buy your new car from a dealership you trust. For me, that's Carter Subaru. This is Ursula Reutin. At Carter Subaru, your drive begins with savings. Now get the 2025 Crosstrek with 3.9% APR for 48 months. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at their Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 4/30/25.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory is a little different. We actually reach out to the small business world, to Joel Taylor and Sean O'Donnell from Sean O'Donnell's Restaurants. Sean, when Joel brought this to you, the idea of why don't we take this First Mark Challenge victory, what was your thought?
My goal was to save some money and to simplify our operations. We've got 6 locations now, and along with that comes complications. And when things get complicated, things that are important get forgotten. First Mark was able to simplify that and also save us money.
Not only have they saved us money, they helped us identify some blind spots in our policies. Their service team has been phenomenal, unparalleled in my experience, given us a lot more solutions with better coverage, and just made too much sense.
First Mark's just made it easy for us.
So if you're a business owner and your insurance is in need of simplifying and streamlining and eliminate the stress, do what Sean O'Donnell's Restaurants did. Reach out to First Mark Insurance. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. First Mark Insurance, your teammate in the business world too. Going to work for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome.
You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Monday to all of you. And we are going to talk about pensions. Who even gets them anymore?
Exactly. I feel the same way. I've been wanting that too. Okay, I just want to make sure my phone is silent so I can focus in on this conversation. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard of this term before, Ursula, but it's called pension padding or pension spiking. Mm-hmm. I have never heard of this, but apparently it's costing taxpayers a lot of money. So I want to know, those of you listening, how do you feel about this? Let me explain. A report in the Seattle Times highlighted that police officers and firefighters are the only Seattle City employees whose retirement plans are managed by the state. These plans allow your pension to be determined by your highest income years. So an employee in their last 5 years of retirement can work a ton of overtime, and their pension will be based on that salary, not the income from the other years. Now, the Seattle Times analyzed city payroll data to get this information, and according to the report, a fire department spokesperson acknowledged this is a thing, Ursula.
Oh, yeah.
Lawmakers apparently tried more than a decade ago to end this practice, but the bill died after some labor groups testified against it. Critics say this is not fair to other city employees, including civilian ones who work with police and fire. And now let me share one example they gave. So they talked about a Seattle Police Sergeant, Richard O'Neill, who from 2000 through 2013 didn't work much overtime. It accounted for 2% of his earnings. Well, from 2014 to 2018, his final 5 years on the job, he logged hundreds of hours each year, totaling nearly 20 months of time added to the clock. This boosted his earnings by close to $250,000, increasing his pension by $37,000 a year. So what do you guys think about this? Just wrong, or do you feel like don't hate the player, hate the game?
I'm going to go with the latter. And because, again, I look at it as, so Sergeant O'Neill had that right to do exactly what he did, and someone higher than him at the time, whoever his boss is, had to sign off on the overtime. I mean, when I used to be an hourly employee, our bosses would look closely at overtime. And if you're working too much overtime, they would say, we can't have you do that, and we can't have you work these many hours, so we're going to have to figure out something else. So I look at it as poor management versus, hey, here's someone who is gaming the system. Did he game the system? I mean, did he use it to his advantage? Sure, but someone else had to approve his overtime.
So then let's ponder this. So imagine you're a lawmaker. Do you get rid of this practice and say your pension is based on your base salary? Sorry to put you in that hot seat.
Well, I mean, I think that they tried it, and I'm just, okay, in full disclosure, I do get a pension. I will get a pension.
Oh, awesome! That's
yes.
So Bonneville gives pensions.
Bonneville did.
Yeah.
So
not anymore.
So I've worked here long enough to where and yeah, it's based on you're going to look at your 5 highest earning years. I mean, so now in the public sector, because we're talking about public dollars, are you going to try to make it so it is most advantageous to the taxpayers, or are you going to allow this for people who have been there for years and years and years and years. And, obviously, I think it's just a situation where it could be managed. Nothing needs to change if only the managers in place would do a better job of controlling overtime. You have to also remember that this happened during a time when SPD is dealing with a historic staffing shortage. That all said, I think Patrick Michaud, the spokesman for the police department, said, some people are known to kind of take advantage of that.
Doesn't this seem like a giveaway to the good old boys kind of thing? Like, hey, Ted, I know you've been here a long time and you're going to be out the door soon. And so I'm not going to say anything about the overtime. We're just going to approve it. I imagine if they tried to use the word police this, I bet there would be significant pushback within the union saying, well, wait. I was planning on buying the second house in Arizona. I'd already set my budget for that. I was going to work my butt off for the last 5 years. But it seems like gaming the system.
But again, I would hold the one I would hold accountable is the one who is approving the overtime. You don't have to do that.
Okay, well, I'm going to go in a different direction and disagree with you all. If this were any other city worker, I might debate on this a little bit more. But because it's specifically first responders we're talking about, firefighters and police who are on the front lines, not the civilian ones, I'm going to say I'm here for it. If they can get a higher pension because they legitimately worked overtime and it increases their pension, I just think there's so much crap that they deal with. And, the crazy hours, the threats, I just think, take your extra $37,000, have a good life.
Well, this is in Seattle. It's firefighters and police.
Right.
It's also statewide amongst all state workers.
See, I think that's where I feel a little differently then.
Yeah, you and I are kind of landing on the same page.
I think we're kind of, yeah.
Yeah, in that, again, they're not doing anything against what is allowed under their current arrangement.
I think reasonable people would do the same thing. If it's based on my highest income and I'm allowed to have overtime and I legitimately am working the overtime, then give it to me. But I think the question is, should this be a thing?
Yes.
Is this something that needs to change? I'm sure all city workers work really hard. I just struggle with this piece. Like I liked it when in my mind it was just for first responders.
You're so
Is
funny.
that wrong, y'all?
Text us 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Okay, in What's New at 10, we're going to talk about a couple of things, including the high prices of your groceries and how do we rank as a state compared to other states. And is there anything that you have given up in terms of buying when you go to the grocery store because it's just way too expensive right now? Love to hear from you. Text us or you can weigh in on our YouTube page.
Yay! I see y'all on there. I'm looking.
Okay, the Gee and Ursula Show is coming up. Stay with us.
KIRO Newsradio delivers the news you can trust.
State is facing a multi-billion-dollar deficit.
Government wants more of your money to build, quote-unquote, affordable housing.
We help you navigate the headlines, providing clarity and context to help you understand how today's events impact your life tomorrow.
The driver pulled out a gun. The officer opened fire, shooting at least one time.
The problem is worse in King County than any other part of the country.
Stay informed. Stay connected with KIRO Newsradio.
At Les Schwab, we've been changing the tire game for more than 70 years. Our Go the Extra Mile service means more hustle, less hassle. We design our own exclusive tires to give you more tires made for the road you drive, less compromise. All backed by America's best tire warranty included with every tire we sell. We're talking more unbeatable tire warranty, less charging you extra, like the other guys. It's why you get more from less. Book an appointment at leschwab.com.
Hi, it's John Curley. Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. I've recently talked with Dr. Mixon about his approach to proactively focusing on prevention. Dr. Mixon, I first met you in 2009, and I went in there and I told you I wasn't feeling well, couldn't gain any muscle mass, couldn't sleep well, I was stressed out, and you looked at me and you said, yeah, I know what your problem is.
And all we did was we measured your values and we moved your values back to those of a nice, healthy 25-year-old man.
I have taken your blood work to my doctor, and he was shocked. He couldn't believe the depth in which you study my blood.
We need to draw a distinction between living a long time and getting old. And that's what longevity is all about, is we are here to do the measurements and help you fix those problems.
So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
It's time. The new phase of premium view lots at Natchez RV Resort is open. Don't miss your opportunity to get first pick. Ty, tell us about it.
Our new phase features incredible extra-large RV lots with amazing unobstructed views. And talk about privacy, nothing will be developed behind them. And these lots start at just $80,000.
Natchez RV Resort has 300 days of sunshine and year-round family fun. Pickleball, playground, dog park, miles of recreational trails. Plus, you have fishing, hunting, skiing, and golf nearby. And don't forget wine tasting. Yakima Valley has been voted the #1 best wine region in the U.S.
Natchez RV Resort also features a 4,300 square foot clubhouse with gourmet kitchen, great room, fitness center, showers, and laundry. Plus, the brand new saltwater swimming pool and hot tub are open and ready for you.
Get your perfect pick of Natchez RV Resort's premium view lots, starting at just $80,000. Reserve your showing now. 800-422-6009. 800-422-6009. NatchezRVResort.com.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your team and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Announcing the Million Hour Volunteer Rally. Donate your time to local food banks or host a food drive. You can win groceries for a year and a $5,000 donation. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer to learn more.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Peter King. The Vatican bells and bells at Catholic churches everywhere have been ringing in tribute to Pope Francis, being remembered as the People's Pope. Reporter Rich Lamb is in Rome.
He ignored doctor's orders. The doctor said, well, you have to spend a couple of months recovering. Instead, he went out among the people, and that was part of the message that he had as Pope. He said that priests ought to be shepherds and they ought to smell like the sheep.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Vatican journalist Susie Hodges says Pope Francis brought the common touch to his elevated position.
He did so many things that other popes didn't do, like pick up the phone and ring somebody who'd been suffering. These were unprecedented things for a pope to do.
At his own request, Francis will lie in a simple wooden coffin, not on an elevated platform, but at the same level as the people he vowed to serve. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
Fordham University's Father Thomas Massaro says Francis set a high bar for his successor.
He's a very influential pope, having served for 12 years. That's not such a long time, I suspect, but it really has changed the course of the way the Roman Catholic Church relates to the outside world.
A cardinal's conclave to elect the next pope is expected to start in about 3 weeks. The White House and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth are downplaying the significance of a Signal app chat that included Hegseth's wife, brother, and his attorney talking about Yemen. CBS News national security producer James Laporta.
If you talk to people in the intelligence community, if you talk to people in the U.S. military, regardless if it's classified or not classified, what career military professionals will tell you and what intelligence community people will tell you is that it's a violation of operational security.
Hegseth blames the media for reporting what he calls an old story. In El Paso, the gunman who killed 23 people in a racist attack at a Walmart 6 years ago has pled guilty to capital murder to save his own life. Patrick Crusius gets life in prison without parole, added to 90 federal life terms he's already serving. Prosecutors took the death penalty off the table at the request of surviving family members. At the Boston Marathon, well, here's the women's finish as heard on ESPN.
3 in a row. No. A new Boston Marathon champ for 2025. That finish line and the laurel belong to Sharon Lokedi.
John Career of Kenya won the men's division. His brother Wesley is a previous champion. It's been a rough ride on Wall Street. The Dow down almost 1,100 points. The NASDAQ has lost 523. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
A court date for the handyman accused of killing a grandmother. That's one of the stories coming up. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk, the crash has been cleared from the 520 bridge. Now it looks like you got a crash on I-90 westbound. You're backed up from I-5 nearly to Mercer Island. In Bothell, the crash is blocking a lane on I-405 near Northeast 160th Street. You're slow on and off from Canyon Park to Totem Lake. Travel times South Center to Alderwood and from Alderwood to South Center on 405. It's about 10 minutes slower both directions. Traffic brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Get up to $6,000 in rebates, plus save 10% on heat pumps through April. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Western Washington residents are remembering Pope Francis.
He was so genuine and warm and welcoming.
Father Lazzaroni at Seattle's St. James Cathedral this morning. The Pope died a day after making his last public appearance on Easter Sunday to bless thousands of people in St. Peter's Square. Pope Francis was 88. Memorial plans are expected to be announced soon for Washington State Senator Bill Ramos. He died suddenly while running on a trail near his Issaquah home, according to a social media post from his wife, King County Council member Sarah Perry, Saturday. The 69-year-old Ramos represented Renton, Issaquah, Maple Valley, and Snoqualmie. The man accused of killing a Tenino grandmother is scheduled to be in court this afternoon.
The entire investigation has been quite traumatic.
Police tell KIRO 7 TV that Marcia Norman's body was found in cement under a shed. Her former handyman, Jeffrey Ziz, is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and unlawful disposal of human remains. Police are searching for the motorcyclist who injured 2 pedestrians in a hit-and-run in South Seattle. Neighbors tell KIRO 7 TV they've been concerned about how fast people drive through the area on MLK Way in South Alaska.
There's a lot of speed carrying downhill, and people in this neighborhood seem to drive pretty quickly.
The bikers accused of colliding with a 59-year-old man and a 57-year-old woman who were in a crosswalk Friday. The woman was critically injured. Authorities have seized at least 80 birds from a cockfighting operation in Greggs Harbor County. KIRO 7 TV's Jake Chapman reports.
Kate Circlovich with Heartwood Haven in Pierce County says they rescued these birds from an animal fighting operation in Greggs Harbor County back on April 1st. Most of these birds are in good shape, but not all.
Some of them, they do have the knuckles are cut off and scars and broken beaks.
Circlovich says this is the 3rd major rescue they've been a part of in the last 12 months.
Cockfighting is illegal in all 50 states. Well, the Mariners won their series against the Toronto Blue Jays. M's first baseman Rowdy Tellez punishing his former team.
Swung on, lasered, right field. It's on its way. It's on its way. It is gone.
The Mariners start a 3-game series against the Red Sox in Boston tomorrow. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly cloudy skies today with highs in the upper 50s. It's 48 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Happy Monday to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us on the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out today. Angela Poe Russell is in. Good morning.
Good morning, Ursula. Thanks for having me today.
Our first hour went flying on
by.
It really
absolutely
did. Loved our conversations. Loved our community now on YouTube. You get to check them out there as well.
It's very cool.
Yes.
I just got to figure out how I can sign in and chat. Figure that part out.
Text us, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Coming up at 10:30, we're going to ask all of you, do you think parents today are too soft? And if you are one of those parents, fess up. Text us, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. We're going to have some fun with that topic.
Oh, yeah.
So I look forward to that conversation. But right now...
What's new at 10?
Okay, tell the truth. Have you opened the ballot yet?
Okay, can I be honest? So this is this just for the city or statewide people?
Oh, there's like all different counties are having.
Oh,
yeah. So here in King County, we've got one, Angela.
I feel like such a spoiled brat because when I saw it, I was like, we're voting on something again. It just feels like we've had all these special elections, and then I feel guilty because I'm like, Angela, you don't have to go to a ballot box. Just
exactly.
Stop it.
It's really easy. But yeah, special elections are happening tomorrow. So here in King County, voters are being asked for more money to pay for a fingerprint identification system. Tacoma voters will be deciding on more taxes to spend on roads. Enumclaw and Mercer Island will be turning in ballots to pay for school construction and improvements. And voters in Pierce County and Edmonds will be deciding the future of firefighting. So some important issues. I'm just not a big fan of the special elections because the turnout is abysmal. And just the fact that it was like, oh my God, wait, what? What's this ballot doing here?
Yeah, and to be clear, I think most of us know, like, it's very patriotic to vote. We should vote. We should get out and do it. I think when I saw it, I was like, okay, there's another topic I need to research, which sounds so bad. So I'm just acknowledging it's bad. But that's what I thought, because I don't want to just vote and not know what I'm voting on. Like
exactly. So for you in King County, so we've done a little bit of the research. So we are being asked for more property taxes to pay for the automated fingerprint identification system, otherwise known as AFIS. And all police agencies in the county use this system. And basically, it collects finger and palm prints at police stations. There are mobile print readers that can ID people quickly. In the event that you are not in a place like a police station. Mm-hmm. And the AFIS levy funds the staff who will process that evidence. And so the backers behind this say this would cost the average homeowner in King County about $23 a year.
And this is renewing, right? This is renewing, I believe. So it wouldn't be new tax, but something we're already paying.
Yes. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. And so Chef was asking me this morning how I feel about it. And I am just exhausted by all of the asks lately. It's just increase this, increase that, increase this, increase that. And there's a part of me that wants to just say, hey, you've got a budget. You've got a budget that's been growing. You've got a budget that should be able to cover these. I think this is an important service. Mm-hmm. So I would love for someone to talk me down from this position right now.
I'm happy to. Don't do it. Vote yes, approve it. And we're already paying it, number one. But number two, this is not the time to take away resources from law enforcement. And it gives them another tool in solving crimes. Sometimes I was reading through their annual report on the use of it, and they highlighted cases where video surveillance wasn't enough, and being able to use the fingerprints really helped them identify the correct person, which probably would increase the likelihood that you wouldn't nab the wrong person. I just think we're at this pivotal point where we're trying to turn things after the pandemic, there were all these leniencies and people getting away with things. And so now we're turning the tide. We're like embracing the rule of law, I think. We're embracing the rule of law, I think. And I think this is a great tool for them to have. Okay. I don't want to take this away at this time.
But why would it necessarily have to be taken away if they were to do a better job with the current budget that they have?
I think that's such a convenient thing to say. It sounds good, Ursula. It's like, just work with the budget you have. They're struggling to get police officers to come to Seattle. So I would argue that money should go towards bonuses, recruitment.
Yeah, we're talking about King County, though, in this particular case.
All right,
yes.
fair enough.
Yes, yeah.
Fair enough. But still, I think my point would what do you want them to cut to pay for this?
I don't know, because I don't know the intricacies of their budget, but I'm just speaking on behalf of the folks who are feeling like they're inundated with, we're going to increase this, we're going to increase this. This is a continuation, but we never hear, hey, I'm going to remove this because...
Yeah. So in other words, you would like to see, okay, if we vote no on this, King County, find it in your budget to pay for this.
Yes.
Me voting against it is not voting against the program. It's saying, I need you to fund it another way, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Now, that all said, am I likely going to approve it? Probably.
But not happily.
But I will be, and I think I want to look at it in terms of the folks who, every single dollar does matter, and we keep resorting to taxpayers to fund these things where I feel like...
Cliff brought up a good point. Cliff, I think you just broke it down. He said, I'm sorry, but how the heck is AFIS not part of the existing law enforcement budget? Why is this being funded basically through property tax? I mean, that's a great... why are property taxes paying for this?
That's the argument.
See, now you may have flipped me.
Okay, well, can I give you some detail?
Yes,
so
go ahead.
Some fascinating stuff from the Times article. They don't even teach law enforcement trainees at the Criminal Justice Training Academy how to lift prints anymore. So the way this system works is like any agency can call up AFIS. They'll send out a 7-person team to collect evidence. A couple of years ago, they were only doing really significant crimes like, murders, rapes, like horrible assaults, 200 cases a year. In 2023, they started doing a lot more, including car thefts. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they did 3,000 cases a year. If I know there's a team that law enforcement can call up and they're going to be out there, because who's doing the evidence collection for police departments? Apparently, they don't have the staff to do it at SPD, right? And I'm all for funding something that not only collects prints from murder scenes, but from home invasions, from burglaries, from car thefts, and puts it in a database, because then when you actually get somebody connected to one crime, you're probably going to connect them to more than one.
Yeah,
and that had not been happening.
So all of us are in agreement that this is an important program.
Yes.
What we're not in agreement is how it is paid.
Agreed.
Susan in Kent says the fingerprint system should be paid from the general fund, period. The county budget is huge. Ernie in Kent says taxes are killing the middle class in this country. Please stop. So that's the part where I'm raising that issue, whereas I used to be one of those voters where I was like, hey, this is for the good. This is important. I'm going to go ahead and approve it. I'm going to approve it. I'm going to approve it. It's like, wait a minute. Why are we always going immediately to, let's get taxpayers to approve it?
So if we vote no, this could be our protest to say, it'd be a risky protest, but it'd be a protest to say, figure it out some other way.
Within your budget.
Within your budget.
Yes.
The risk is they could just let it go.
Well, that's at least what they tell us.
Right.
If it's that important, you're going to find a way to make it happen. Okay. Well, speaking of things getting more expensive, parking could become even more expensive and even more scarce around the state, all in the name of more affordable housing. So a bill that is headed to the governor's desk would restrict how much parking that cities and counties are allowed to require when it comes to new development. So if this is signed into law, cities with 30,000 or more residents would be prohibited from requiring more than 0.5 parking spaces for each new multifamily building or more than 1 parking space per single-family home. Cities would not be allowed to require any parking for homes under 1,200 square feet or commercial spaces under 3,000 square feet. So it's a lot of words to say basically the requirements would just be lowered.
Right. So cities with, is it more than 30,000 can now determine it for themselves how much parking they have.
Yes.
You know, when I first heard about this, I thought, great, this does sound like the state kind of getting out of the way and letting certain cities decide what's best for them. And the reality is, this whole idea, if you build it, they will come. If you build something with no parking, it's a lot tougher to sell because a lot of people want parking. And I mean, they need somewhere to park. I know that there's this agenda by some to try to make us take the bicycles and take the buses that are usually running late. And I'm okay. Sorry. This is where I'm like, Angela's going to tell you how she really feels and upset everybody.
No.
But I will just say the few times we've tried to use public transportation,
it's not convenient
it has
for everybody.
not gone well.
Yeah, it's not convenient for everybody, but for some people,
it's a lifeline.
It's great.
It's what you need, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So I respect that. While I'm frustrated by the lack of parking in the city, like extremely frustrated, I do think that the cities need to decide for themselves what's best.
Well, so that's what they're saying. So in all cases, developers could still provide more parking if they desire, but it would not be mandatory. But critics say that this law would take away from local control. So for housing advocates, they say this is one of the strongest parking reform packages in the entire country because it's developers are not going to be burdened with trying to figure out. It's going to be more about, hey, I'm going to create more units versus I've got to use some of these for the parking.
But would people buy them? That's
well,
what I don't know.
I
mean,
a lot of people won't. I know that right now, our veterinarian, who I love, we are in the Ravenna area, where our vet, they moved to this location in Ravenna where there's no parking. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's making me want to find a new veterinarian.
Yeah, because you're thinking this is too inconvenient. This is too inconvenient.
And Scooter's getting really old. And I have to go there multiple times.
As so often happens, I'll come in with an opinion. And then as we talk about it more, I see your text messages. I start to kind of evolve. And now I am a little bit worried because I do worry about if, let's say I can only afford this kind of home or apartment or condo, whatever it is. And so you have developers that build a bunch of units with no parking, and this is all I can afford. Then I'm forced to not have parking. And then once these things are constructed, they're there. You can't add the parking. So now I'm starting to think is this a bad thing?
I think it's just in certain cities like Seattle, parking is just going to get that much worse. And right now, our sons are renting a place in Lower Queen Anne, and we just helped our son move some stuff into the apartment. And there's one parking spot. And one of their neighbors said, yeah, you're going to want to pay for parking. So there's two of them they have two cars. They said, you're going to want to pay for parking somewhere else because you don't want it just parked out there. Your car will be vandalized. And there's no parking available in the unit.
Yeah. Well, here's what needs to happen, because when developers go to build, they have to get the land cheap enough. And so if you're trying to sell your nice home, let's say in Queen Anne, and you want $1 million for your rundown home, well, the developer has to make that money up, and you make it up by building more units. You take away the parking space, all this. So I think there has to be an adjustment and realistic expectations for people who are selling their properties. And because I'm struggling with this one. I really I want us to have the flexibility.
My initial reaction was, oh my gosh, parking's just going to get that much worse.
I think there's a debate on multi-story, multi-family residences like apartment buildings. But when it comes to single-family homes, for every driveway that you make, you actually take away 3 parking spots on the street. Because you cut that curb, that's 1 parking space, and then 5 feet on either side of it, you cannot park there or you're going to get towed. So that one driveway will actually take away 3. So this could actually produce the opposite effect. If you're having single-family homes being built in neighborhoods, then you're not taking any parking away to have them there. You just have a sidewalk running up to the street.
But would someone build that? That just seemed like that would be...
Yeah, is that a house that you want to buy?
Less regulation. Open the market.
Okay, text us. What do you think? 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. We're going to squeeze one more story in here because if you've been to the store lately, you know that groceries are expensive. And it turns out Washington is number 6 on the list of states where households spend the most on groceries. Coming in at number 1 was Utah, then Alaska, number 3, Hawaii. According to this data from LendingTree, the average Washington household spends just over $10,200 on groceries, which is nearly 25% difference from the national average. On average, Americans spend about, let's say, $8,200 on groceries. But when looking at the list of states that spend the largest share of household income on groceries, Washington actually ranks number 23. Obviously, more people are getting higher incomes here in this state. So
and that's
that would
probably
be
a factor, higher labor costs, right?
9% of their income, 7.9% of their income is spent on groceries. My thought and my question for all of you is, what are you not buying, or how are you spending differently to
This
make
is an
up for?
easy one. And I just want to say I am coming from a very privileged position because I'm employed and I have a place to live. So I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. But I'm not buying avocados. I'm that person. I'm like, that's what I've cut back on, avocados. Because
you're not having that avocado
Okay, so
toast.
first of all, we've stopped eating out as much. So we're not eating out as much.
Yeah.
I've stopped getting the lattes as much. Like, and maybe I used to get them a couple times a week. Maybe it's once every other week, something like that. And then in the grocery store, I've just drawn a line. Like if something that is a luxury, like avocados, feel like, and it's sad because they're so healthy for you.
Yes.
But it feels like a luxury. I don't need avocados, and they're really expensive. And then here's my other privilege point. Usually I get this really name brand orange juice that's like, you know, and now I just get the basic like $2.99. Like, we're going to have to live with that. So we have absolutely cut back. What about you?
So I haven't cut back enough.
Okay.
But again, and coming from an extremely privileged position right now, but I do notice now it's like when you're eating out, for example, like when you used to be able to buy teriyaki for under $10.
What the heck has happened?
It's $20
what the heck has happened
for a meal.
The same at I oh my God. I got a cookie someplace and I was like, how much could the cookie be? And it was $4. I was like, when did you raise your price for a freaking cookie? Same with Chipotle. You used to go to Chipotle, get a $10 and it. Yes, lunches. What happened to the $10 lunch?
If there's anything under $10, please let me. Well,
please let us know.
Yeah, some fast food restaurants will still do. And
McDonald's,
I take
you're struggling. You got to get the value meal, and it will not fill you up. That $7 value meal at McDonald's.
I have done that value
I had
meal.
a $23 burger. That was not a fancy burger over the weekend.
Yikes!
I was like,
I know. When did this happen? Okay, text us 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Okay, we want to know, coming up next, are parents today too soft? We're going to have that conversation on the Gee and Ursula Show.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
At KIRO News Radio, our commitment goes beyond delivering the latest headlines.
Authorities say they've busted a violent drug trafficking ring in Seattle.
Mayor Bruce Harrell says this operation should go a long way toward putting a stop to crime in the CID.
We dive deep into the stories that matter, helping you understand the impact on your community and your life.
Even if you do get caught, you're gonna probably get a small little smack on the hand.
You can have your opinions, I can have mine.
KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Dave Ross with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine, and Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar this Thursday at 6 p.m. to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And remind us which joints you've had the best success with.
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures, so if you are in pain, join him this Thursday, 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. drmarkwagnermd.com.
I've always been a super athletic guy, but after I turned 40, I noticed I was slowing down. Instead of hitting the gym after work, I spent my evenings on the couch with a bag of chips. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and when I did try to work out, I ran out of energy right away. One of my buddies suggested I book a free testosterone check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that low T doesn't just impact how guys perform in the bedroom. I worked with a provider to create my custom treatment plan, and today I'm feeling stronger than ever. Last week, I even set a new PR at the gym. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Gee and Ursula agree to disagree.
This is happening until we do a better job at addressing affordable housing.
We're spending more money on homelessness, and yet it does keep getting worse.
Weekday mornings at 11:06 on KIRO News Radio.
For many years now, Heritage Homecraft has been making stunning kitchens for the folks of Puget Sound. Hi, Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. When we resurface your existing cabinet boxes, install custom-built cabinet doors, and tailored quartz countertops, it'll transform any old, outdated kitchen into the showpiece of your home as it ought to be. All done in about a week without the mess, hassle, time, and expense of a complete tear-out. Not a national chain, your new kitchen is designed, created, and installed by a team of dedicated craftspeople who live and work here in the Pacific Northwest. Have one of our professional representatives out for a free in-home consultation. We'll bring the showroom to you and leave you with an exact quote for your new kitchen. I promise you'll be amazed by the quality and transformation. Just ask any one of our thousands of satisfied customers. If you call today, there's still time to have your new kitchen installed before summer. Call today, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
When the heat's an 11, cool AC would be heaven.
Dayandnight.net.
Beat the rush. Act now before summer, because that heat's a real bummer.
Dayandnight.net.
This is the time to plan ahead, so you stay cool this summer. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Now save up to $4,600 on qualifying cooling equipment.
Dayandnight.net.
Save on a 2-night getaway to beautiful Victoria, BC with the FRS Clipper Spring Sale. Travel car-free on the Clipper Fast Ferry and stay at a charming downtown hotel. Up to 20% off. Save during Clipper Spring Sale at frsclipper.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
CBS News special report. Around the world, people are paying tribute to Pope Francis, who died this morning at the age of 88. In Rome, the crowds gathered.
We feel very emotional, actually. We're just here for holiday, and we can't believe it's happened while we're here. You know, he was a lovely Pope. We're very sad about it.
The Pope's humble style and concern for the poor endeared him to many. Reporter Rich Lamb.
He refused the fanciest of papal garb, turned down the ermine cape and the red shoes, wore brown shoes through his papacy.
The next pope is still to be decided. Fordham University's Father Thomas Massaro on what comes next.
They do have rounds of voting. It will take multiple rounds. You have to get 2/3 majority. And Pope Francis was elected on the 5th round back in 2013. So I expect multiple rounds of voting.
Pope Francis appeared last in public Sunday with an Easter blessing. CBS News special report. I'm Cammie McCormick.
And I'm Heather Bosch in Seattle, where people of many faiths are remembering Pope Francis.
I'm not Catholic at all. I'm Jewish, but I think I still respect him for what he did, advancing LGBTQ rights in the Catholic Church. So I just really appreciate everything he's done.
The Pope is known for reaching out to marginalized communities. Memorial plans are expected to be announced soon for Washington State Senator Bill Ramos. The 69-year-old Ramos represented East King County communities and died suddenly over the weekend. Detectives on Fox Island are calling a reported suicide a suspected murder. Pierce County Deputy Carly Capetto says a woman's boyfriend called 911 yesterday.
When deputies arrived, they located a deceased 27-year-old female.
She says they quickly found details that did not match a suicide. Forensic teams spent hours combing the home for clues. Detectives arrested the boyfriend on suspicion of homicide. We are less than 24 hours away from a special election here in Washington. KIRO 7 TV's Ranji Sinha reports people will be voting in 23 counties across the state.
Your voting precinct determines what's on your ballot. Most of these are just local bonds and levies, plus school and road improvements. Statewide ballots will include 39 total measures across 39 districts.
King County voters will decide whether to renew a levy that pays for fingerprinting used to solve crimes. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 1,145 points. NASDAQ off 550. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk in Bothell, the crash has been cleared from I-405. From our KIRO text line, an earlier report that in Bellevue, 2 lanes were closed on northbound 405 at 4th Avenue. That may have been cleared. I'm not seeing a significant backup through Bellevue right now. In Renton, there's a disabled vehicle on I-405 northbound near State Route 167. Travel time Renton to Bellevue, 27 minutes. That's about 5 minutes longer than typical. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking, call Beacon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly cloudy skies today with highs in the upper 50s. Right now, it's 48 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Now we're going to talk about parenting. And the question is, are we too soft these days as parents?
Yeah, this is a debate happening on social media. And at the heart of it is the parent coach influencer. Her name is Destiny Ann. She recorded this interaction between her and her young daughter. Now, in this clip, she uses common parental disciplinary phrases that many of us grew up listening to. But her daughter has no clue because she is choosing not to raise her kids this way. Now, I'm going to say some of the phrases, see if you can finish the sentence, and then you can hear the interaction with Destiny. All right, so for all you listening, Ursula, children should be seen and not
heard.
I'll give you something to
cry about.
Oh, yeah, see? I brought you into this world and I
hate this one. Take you out.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I mean, gee whiz.
I mean, I always thought like this was a Southern thing or whatever. And then when Chef brought this up, I'm like, all of us knew these phrases. And so this influencer who I followed on Instagram, she is trying to rear her children in a different way. And so I want you to hear some of the interaction, and then we'll just have a debate about it. So Chef, I'll let you do the honors. Oh, I guess am I doing the honor?
Children are to be...
Children.
Children are to be... Hey,
well,
man.
Am I
Yes.
I'm all right?
In my book. I'll give you something to...
Eat.
When we go in this store, don't...
Steal stuff.
That's important. I brought you in this world and I can...
Feed you. I'm giving so many hard things.
No, you're doing excellent. Okay, all right. What about this one? You know what? Go get my...
Purse.
That's what I'm talking about. They brought me my coins.
Yeah, I followed Destiny Ann for a while on Instagram, and she said this conversation was healing for her because she wants to break the cycle of how we've been parenting kids and this fear-based model, and she can articulate it way better than me. But what are your takeaways to this?
Well, I knew when I became a parent that there were things that I wanted to adopt that my parents did, but there were definitely things that I did not want to do. And one of the things I did not want to do is I did not want to physically harm my kids. Mm-hmm. So my German father and my Filipino mother both grew up getting spanked, and they also spanked us as kids when we did the wrong thing. My dad tended to be someone, he had a very loud voice, and he would be a yeller when he got upset. And I just remember how I felt when that happened. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't want to be someone who yell at my kids. Did I always follow that? No, but I think it was really to a minimum.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't spank.
I did not spank.
And your kids have turned out, because some people would say, well, see, you came out really well, even though they spanked you. But it sounds like your boys are doing really well in life.
They are doing really well. Now, there were times when I think my youngest pushed me to the limits where I probably could have been a lot tougher. Mm-hmm. And thank God there was nothing permanent, no permanent damage done. But he had to make some really stupid mistakes. The other thing that I did as a parent was I made sure that I was really open about the dangers of drug use, the dangers of alcohol, the peer influence, and things that happened, mistakes we made as kids, or things that happened with my older brother where he became addicted to drugs. And so they knew at a very early age. So that was something that really helped in our case.
Yeah, Chef, I'm curious because, I mean, you're in the throat. Mm-hmm. My kids, I have one in college, one who is going to be a senior in the fall. But you have young kids. I mean, do you think parents are too soft, and are you one of them?
I really do struggle with this because that a child should be seen and not heard. I would love for that to happen sometimes because my 8-year-old will insert himself into an Easter conversation with 18 people, and he's one of the 2 youngest kids there, right? And sometimes this is completely inappropriate. At the same time, he is also learning how to assert and advocate for himself and deal with society as a peer in a way that we did not have permission to growing up. So yes, you will have kids that are more outspoken. Yes, you will have kids who feel more entitled to throw tantrums in public or act entitled with their parents. But you're also eventually, because I can see the progression, you're also going to get kids who are better self-advocates, who communicate their needs, who have no problem standing up to others and saying what they believe or what they need. And I think there's a lot of kids. I'm married to one who was just very shy growing up and not encouraged to speak out at all. And I think that can be equally damaging to a kid.
So I'm gonna go about this in a little different way. Just so personally, spanking was rare, and what I saw when I did it is that it just wasn't effective. It wasn't working with my kids. Mm-hmm. Maybe it works on some others, so we went about it a different way. But I think where we've gotten too soft as parents, I don't think the issue is around spanking. It's that we do too much. We don't let them make mistakes. We don't let them learn from them. And I'll just give you it's like the whole helicopter
parenting.
And so you have kids who feel very entitled because everything's done for them. My kid was like, my friends don't have to do their laundry. And I'm like, well, you're doing yours. So I think when you start raising people where they're, and look, I'm not innocent of this all the time. Like, I am absolutely guilty of catering, but I have to check myself. So we had to make a decision. My daughter is in college. She's moving out of her dorm in a couple weeks, and her dad was going to fly there and help her move out. And I was like, no. She can, I figured it out when I was a kid. Like, we'll help you with the moving boxes. I'll have a moving service come. Mm-hmm. You can pack up your small dorm on your own. And you know what? She's figuring it out. She's like, I already ordered my boxes and I'm getting my tape. Yeah. She'll be fine.
And ultimately, they feel better about it.
I just think that and again, I'm preaching to myself, y'all. I'm preaching to myself. We got to let kids kind of fumble a little bit.
It's true.
That's what builds resilience.
You're right.
And so I don't think the soft is about we're not spanking them enough. Yes. I think we're just doing too much.
I think you're right. And not wanting them to feel any sort of pain or disappointment. And it's like we're only delaying the inevitable, right? And better for them to learn those things while still under your roof.
Yes.
For sure.
I love this conversation.
We love to hear your feedback on this. 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Okay, still ahead, we've got scenarios. We will be right back.
Hey there, I'm Chris Sullivan, traffic reporter for KIRO Newsradio. The favorite part about my job is helping you get answers to your traffic questions.
Will this construction ever end?
How do you zipper merge?
Just how close is tailgating?
Now I need your help. What burning questions do you have? What should I be looking into? You can help drive the conversation by going to mynorthwest.com or text choke points to 888-973-5476. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the star of my next Choke Points story. Presented by Carter Subaru.
If you are in the market for a new car, you deserve to work with a dealership that you can trust. You want to know that you are going to be treated fairly, with respect and honesty, and you want to get the best value for your hard-earned money. And for me, that dealership is always Carter Subaru. We've purchased 2 of our cars now from Carter Subaru, and they will continue to get our business because they have earned our trust. At Carter Subaru, your drive begins with savings. And right now, you can get the 2025 Crosstrek with 3.9% APR for 48 months, or the 2025 Outback, now with 2.9% financing for 36 months on approved credit. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage, and you can enjoy valet parking at their Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all their locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 4/30/25.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's
While
the
you
last time you
drive
checked your
and
wireless
after.
bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
See the new phase of premium view lots at Natchez RV Resort, and they start at just $80,000. Don't miss your opportunity to get first pick. Reserve your showing now. 800-422-6009. NatchezRVResort.com.
Upgrade now with incredible savings on ultra-efficient heat pumps. Get up to $6,000 in rebates, plus save 10% on heat pumps through April. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on mynorthwest.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Coming up next, we are going to be doing Agree to Disagree, but right now it's time for scenarios.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
All right, this is from Slate this morning. Recently, I had a big fight with my boyfriend at Walmart, and I ran out of the car and drove home, leaving it at the store. I was wearing runner shorts that went down to just above the knee, and this older woman comes up behind me and loudly says she is showing her butt to the whole store. I turned around and said, "Excuse me?" She told me I was dressed way too expletive to be out in public. I turned to my boyfriend for support, and he averted his eyes and said, and I asked, "Are you going to let her talk to me that way?" "Forget it," he said. "Let's just go." I folded my arms and said, "No, this lady called me a name, and I want you to defend me." And he told her, "Sorry about my girlfriend, ma'am. Would you mind just walking away?" I was so upset. I went into the parking lot, got in my car, and left. And now he's saying that I hurt his feelings. I believe he should have stood up for me. Angela, what's the expectation in that scenario when somebody confronts the girlfriend in a public place, whether it's for public shaming of the clothes she's wearing or something else, and she has her male companion there with her?
Okay, I'm going to go back to something my grandmother, Mama Helen, taught me. Mama Helen said, always remember, nobody owes you anything. In that moment, you can stand up for yourself. Now, in practice, even though no one owes me anything, if my husband just sat there and let someone talk to me any kind of way and doesn't try to intervene and help me, we're going to have a problem. In fact, if this is her boyfriend, that may not be the guy for her. I mean, so I always operate from the standpoint that I don't have an expectation that you do because I'm a grown, not going to curse on the air. I'm a grown woman, right?
Yeah.
But it would be, but yes, I would be concerned if my husband didn't intervene.
You answered that perfectly.
I did? I feel like I'm in circles.
No, I love what you said, that first of all, if someone said that to me, I would not hesitate to respond in kind to whoever had something to say to me. However, I also would hope that my husband, and I think my husband would defend me in this particular case. Now, we weren't there, didn't see if she was causing a stink. But the part where she goes too far is demanding that he have a response, and then he turns around and apologizes to the offending woman. And I'm missing something.
I'm going to tell you what I think you're missing because my husband has talked about this. When it comes to women, he does not like to have battles with women. He does not. You know, he's seen stuff go down with women, and he's like, I am not because the power dynamic. Just it's very dicey, and then
you're going to always be seen as the aggressor, as the man.
True. That right, and so and this was an elderly woman. So I think his perspective could have been, let's just take a knee here. Like, obviously she's wrong, but it's not going to look good for me going off on this woman in defense of your outfit.
See, I'd have no problem like cussing the lady out because that would probably be my first inclination, and it would just let fly.
But you can own that.
But do we have a similar expectation? Because this is not something that it was like a physical confrontation. It was just a nasty, uncalled for remark. If somebody said something nasty like that about your partners, do you feel like you should have some sort of obligation to say something as well?
That's so he just flipped the script.
I would probably also step up and say something.
Ursula.
Are you kidding me?
If someone said something to your husband, you think, and he's there, I think you stepping in would send Mark the message that he's not capable.
Heck no.
If it's a woman and he doesn't feel like he can aggressively respond to a woman,
all right.
Woman to woman, I'd have no issue.
Woman to woman.
I wouldn't be emasculated by that at all. I'd be like, heck yeah, ride with me. Let's go. Nick, what do you think, buddy?
Some people don't like making scenes in public, but look, I wouldn't take this so personally from the girl's standpoint. She's got a lot more going for her than the opposition giving her grief in public. Sure, there is such thing as a common decency, and maybe she crossed the line, but no, she's probably missing the days where she'd be the one reaching for the wardrobe malfunction. Stand up for your lady if she's asking, though, but this doesn't seem like anything that's going to shake up the household at the end of the day.
Okay, I got to ask y'all, though, because we have a little bit of time here. When you see someone doing wrong, and when you see, for example, someone talking poorly or disrespecting, whether it's a store clerk, are you someone who pretends nothing is going on, or do you say something?
I'm typically, if it's really bad, I'm the intervener. And it's hard because I encourage my kids to be that way.
Me too.
And so sometimes when they have, it's really it's especially when you're a teen, it can really, she's dealing with it right now. Like, when do you speak up and when don't you do not? But you ever watch that show, What Would You Do?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing the number of people who don't.
Just try to pretend like nothing's going on.
I remember one very vivid experience I had in San Francisco when I was riding on a public bus with my girlfriend at the time. The bus is full, and there's some guy who's clearly having a mental episode, and he starts cussing everybody out on the bus, like using the most foul language you could possibly imagine. And I look at her, and she just puts her hand like on me, like, don't do anything. And nobody said a word. The bus driver just kicked him off at the next stop. But it was one of those situations where you think people would step up and stop the guy, but also everyone looked like, this dude's nuts.
Okay.
I think in that case, I think I wouldn't intervene.
Yes.
I mean,
because you have to know the situation and read the situation. Yeah, that could quickly escalate into something that you cannot handle.
Right, especially if you don't have a weapon with you or anything like that. I mean,
Fists of Fury. I'm just kidding. I don't have Fists of Fury.
Okay. I mean, I'm thinking about that case in Portland where there were these women being harassed.
Yeah,
and
on the
this
train.
man intervened, which I think was so a noble and honorable thing to do, and he was harmed in the process.
Got stabbed, right?
And
Yeah.
And it was awful. So I think when it comes to violence, I guess I was speaking more in the context of, this was verbal, but it just seemed to me, the way you told this story, this person didn't seem right in the head or like he could be violent.
Yes, and you can sense that would be the situation. I think that's an entirely different kind of scenario. Okay, still ahead, we agree to disagree. This is the Gee and Ursula Show with Angela Poe Russell.
KIRO News Radio, your home for the John Curley Show. Weekdays from 3 to 7 p.m.
The economy is like a machine. You have two levers. You can push the lever forward, you can make money cheap, and then people buy and they invest. Then the economy really starts cooking. Well, it starts cooking so much inflation can come in there as well. You pull that lever back, and now you increase the cost to borrow, which slows the economy down, and it just basically puts the brakes on everything.
Streaming live on your smart speaker.
From groceries to home prices, the cost of living in Washington state keeps going up. Now, Olympia politicians are proposing the largest tax increases in state history. Don't be fooled. If taxes go up, we'll all pay even more. Washington needs lower costs, not higher taxes. Tell the politicians no by visiting www.affordablewashington.org. Paid for by the people for an affordable Washington. Top 5 contributors are Washington Alliance for a Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Amazon.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Join in on the conversation by sending a text to 888-973-5476. That's 888-973-KIRO.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Spike O'Neill for Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK, and Lens. And let me tell you, everything is my eyes. Everything. The vision is everything in your life. But when your eyes start to go, it affects everything you do. And I had lost quality of vision over the years, began to need readers, began to lose readers faster than I could buy them. I knew it was time to get my eyes looked at. So I went to the offices over in Bellevue, Sharp Vision, Modern LASIK, and Lens. They gave me a comprehensive eye exam, told me exactly what my situation was, the beginning of cataract in my eye, and I was a perfect candidate for RLE, refractive lens exchange. They answered all my questions. I had the same care team from the start of my simple procedure in half an afternoon, and I was cared for. My anxieties were eased. The procedure went smooth as glass. And I got to tell you, I've got better eyes than I've ever had in my life. I've got 20/10 vision. I see brighter colors. I see sharper images. And I will never need readers, and I will never develop cataract. They are the future of RLE surgeries. Over 80,000 successful lens replacement surgeries. Give them a call at 425-451-2020. That's 425-451-2020, or online at sharp-vision.com, sharp with an e-vision.com, official eye care providers of Sounders FC.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Millions around the world are mourning Pope Francis. He died this morning at the age of 88. His last public appearance was just yesterday when he delivered an Easter blessing and toured St. Peter's Square in his Pope-mobile. The crowds gathered there again today with a rosary prayer.
As a Catholic, I feel sad, also as a human, but also very happy that he gave his life until the end as we all should do.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. The Vatican's church bell tolling 88 times for every year Pope Francis was on this earth.
He's now at peace, and I just feel immense gratitude for all that he gave to the church.
Catholic theologian Tina Beattie. According to his wishes, the first South American pope, this cleric who remained famously humble in word and deed, will be placed in a simple wooden coffin and lie in state for the faithful to pay their respects. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
Fordham University's Father Thomas Massaro on the Pope's appeal to so many. It stemmed partly from his humble style and his concern for the poor.
This is a good, approachable Pope, one that people felt close to elderly and kids, and I think it really put a human face on the papacy.
CBS's Ed O'Keefe on J.D. Vance meeting with the Pope. In Vance's statement,
"My heart goes out to the millions of Christians all over the world who loved him. I was happy to see him yesterday, though he was obviously very ill, but I'll always remember him for a homily that he gave shortly after the COVID-19 pandemic began, where the Pope had urged the world to focus on its faith and believe that ultimately the world would get through that pandemic."
The Pope also had his critics because of his views on capitalism and climate change. The cause of death has not been shared, but he had chronic lung disease and was recently hospitalized for 38 days with double pneumonia. His body will lie in state beginning on Wednesday. The latest reports that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared plans to strike Yemen with his wife and brother on a Signal messaging chat have prompted more calls from Democrats that he be fired. CBS's Nicole Killian.
The president and the White House expressing confidence in the defense secretary's ability, even amid this latest controversy.
At the Boston Marathon, heard here on ESPN.
John Greer is the man who is going to meet the moment in Boston, champion of the 129th Boston Marathon.
Markets have been down over concerns about a threat China made to retaliate if other countries join the U.S. to harm Chinese trade. The Dow is currently off 1,283 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Western Washington remembers Pope Francis. The story coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In Renton, a crash is blocking a lane on I-405 northbound at State Route 900 and a disabled vehicle on I-405 northbound near State Route 167. You are slow from the landing at 405 down to Valley Medical on 167. Travel time Renton to Bellevue 31 minutes, about 15 longer than usual. Traffic brought to you by ProSculpt, the one-day permanent fat loss and skin tightening solution for men and women, offered by New Skin Med Spa in Bellevue. ProSculpt.com.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch.
Wow. That's really sad.
People outside Seattle's St. James Cathedral reacting to the death of Pope Francis.
I just said some prayers right away.
The Pope died this morning, a day after making his last public appearance on Easter Sunday to bless thousands of people in St. Peter's Square. Pope Francis was 88. Washington State Senator Bill Ramos died suddenly over the weekend. His wife, King County Councilmember Sarah Perry, wrote on social media that he passed away while on a trail run Saturday night. The 69-year-old Ramos represented Renton, Issaquah, Maple Valley, and Snoqualmie. His family plans to share memorial details soon. A former handyman is expected to make his first court appearance today in the death of Tenino grandmother Marcia Norman. KIRO 7 TV's Eric Thomas reports.
Her family, Norman's, releasing a statement saying, quote, "We are cooperating fully with the investigation in an effort to come to a resolution regarding the manner of her death. Our family is grieving and looking for ways to honor her memory."
Jeffrey Ziz is charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and unlawful disposal of human remains. Police are searching for the motorcyclist who injured two pedestrians in a hit-and-run in South Seattle Friday. Neighbors tell KIRO 7 TV's Deborah Horn people often drive recklessly through MLK Way in South Alaska.
Patrol officers arrived to find a 57-year-old woman and a 59-year-old man lying in the middle of MLK Junior Way South.
I am concerned about speed in this area.
You should just know better than to be running red lights like that.
If you are the motorcyclist, you're asked to turn yourself in.
The woman was critically wounded. In Grace Harbor County, authorities have seized at least 80 birds from a cockfighting operation. The animals are recovering at Hartwood Haven, where Kate Cirklovich tells KIRO 7 TV.
We used to not hear about any cockfighting busts, and now there are probably at least half a dozen every year.
Some of the roosters are up for adoption. The hottest team in baseball, the Seattle Mariners. After a big series win in Toronto, it included Cal Raleigh's league-leading 9th home run of the season.
Now the pitch to Cal, swinging a well-hit ball deep to left field, down the line, and goodbye baseball.
The M's start a 3-game series against the Red Sox in Boston tomorrow. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly cloudy skies with highs in the upper 50s. It's 50 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us on this April 21st. Angela Poe Russell in for G today. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Ursula. We're on a roll.
We are on a roll. Hey, coming up at 11:30, there is a brouhaha now between one of the newly coined astronauts from that all-women space launch. Mm-hmm. I know that there are people who take issue with calling them astronauts. But in any case, there is a company that went out and basically criticized this launch, like many others, but they're not backing down.
Yeah, and specifically criticized Katy Perry, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so the question is, should they apologize? So we'll have some fun with that coming up at 11:30. As always, we invite you to join us on the text line, 888-973-5476, 888-973-KIRO. Now for our Agree to Disagree segment, brought to you by Guardian Roofing and Gutters.
One of these days, we just got to take off the gloves, just really go at it.
How do you all feel about kids in public school getting pulled out of school during the day for private religious instruction? It's happening in Everett and an increasing number of schools around the country. The program is called LifeWise Academy. You can check this out in the Herald, and it offers non-denominational Christian instruction during school hours. So 2 days a week, a big red LifeWise Academy school bus pulls up to the school. The kids pile out. They will go get instruction in Christian teachings and values, and then they will return to school for their instructional time. So they're not technically missing any school. There are parents, the ones who send their kids there, who say it's a really valuable tool for them to teach their kids the values of, kindness, empathy, compassion, etc., and what Christ taught. And they appreciate the option of having those values reinforced outside of Sunday. There are also other parents, some who spoke to the Herald and were former religious instructors, who are uncomfortable with the idea of separating children from their cohort in order to attend a private religious instruction. This is all legal, by the way, under some obscure 52 Supreme Court decision. But Angela, what do you think about kids getting pulled out of school for this?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, every family can't afford to pay for a private Christian school. But if your kid goes to public school and you really want them to have the Bible as part of the curriculum, that's your choice to do so. I think it's fantastic. I grew up in a Christian school where we had Bible class every single day and chapel every Wednesday. I mean, it went on. And while I complained extensively at that time, those stories, the songs I learned, the lessons I learned, they stick with me to this day and help me in my daily life. And so, if it's not getting in the way of math class or things that are required that they teach, and this is time, and it sounds to me it's not, it's just twice a week, I think it's fantastic. I'd love to see more of it.
So I have a couple of clarifying questions, if I could, Chef.
Yes.
One being, is this open to all religions?
Well, technically any religion could do this, right? So if I was a Hindu or a Muslim, then I could set up a program, coordinate with the school. They have to figure out a lot of rules around this, right? Like they can't pass out any literature in class. They're not supposed to talk about what they're being taught there. Although, of course, naturally, kids are kids. That happens. one of the concerns. But yes, like a Muslim mosque could set up a program like this.
Is this something that is disruptive? Is it happening? Is it taking away from any teaching time?
It does not affect instructional hours because it is during lunch/recess.
Then I don't have an issue with it. It is something that they've taken upon themselves at a time when public schools are losing a lot of students to private institutions, some that offer religion. And one of the reasons, like Catholic schools are doing real well and other private Christian schools are doing really well, is because there are parents who want that instruction. And in this case, you can have both things happen. You can have students still in public school, but you can, if you were willing to pay to have the kids and it's not disruptive to the rest of the class and it doesn't take away from instructional time.
And get this, it's
free. I don't have an issue.
It's free to parents.
Yeah,
so
tuition
it's a free
free
service.
Okay, so it's not
funded by donors. Yeah,
if you are a privileged person who is able to pay for that.
Exactly. Not a money. It's not a money raising thing.
I don't have an issue with that.
The concern that I have, I often hear from conservative parents that we need to get rid of sex education in school because, yes, while I can opt out of that for my child, that ostracizes them, right? What you are doing when you put your child in a program like this is you're taking them out of school and saying, okay, we're going to separate you from your cohort. You are going to be having a completely different experience. Like for me, even if I was a Christian parent, which I am not, I would not want to do it because I think part of the value of schools is social. And I don't think that you need religion to teach morality. I don't think you need religion to teach values. It's probably not what I would do. And it's kind of a weird thing, I'm sure, for a school to navigate. Ultimately, I don't really have a problem with it, but I think you'd see a much, much different conversation if there were kids who were being pulled out of school to go to a Muslim mosque. You would immediately have people saying, like, these kids are being pulled out to be taught fundamentalist Islam that is directly contravenes American society, and you would have protests about it. And frankly, I have similar concerns about soft serving young elementary school kids fundamental Christianity.
I mean, but that's
if their parents are signing them, but this is part of their religion, and their parents sign them up.
At some point in time, you can choose something different from what your parents wanted.
Yeah.
But again, no one's forcing the parents to do this. They're choosing to do this while still keeping their kids in public school.
But I can't take my kid out of class or out of lunch to take him to McDonald's every 2 days or 3 days if I want to, right?
You can't?
No.
I do that all. You can't really?
You're not
you can't
supposed
take your kid out when you want?
No, they'll mark you absent. But anyways, let's move on. Okay, I want to talk about security cameras. So a number of jurisdictions around Western Washington, Everett, Puyallup, Tukwila, Eatonville, Linwood, Auburn, Sumner have all put in what are called flock security cameras. So they are automatic license plate reading cameras that tracks the movement of vehicles around the city. They can flag law enforcement about the presence of a stolen vehicle. They help in fighting crime. Say, for example, there is a robbery committed on one street. That security camera picks up a vehicle moving away from it a certain time of day. They can then track, this is probably the individual who committed that crime. And Gig Harbor actually pushed back against this, but this is the only city that's done so. And I have not been of the opinion that this is a bad thing, but I found out over the weekend that federal law enforcement can access data from those cameras. Federal law enforcement would include Homeland Security, would include Immigration and Customs Enforcement, FBI, etc. And in our current political climate with the current administration, that gives me pause. So Ursula, if Seattle was going to put these in, how would you feel about that?
These other cities are already doing it, and Seattle's going to do it, and ostensibly,
and you have to weigh in
because and I'd have to weigh in.
Undoubtedly solves crime.
It undoubtedly solves crime. I would be of the opinion that anything that can help solve crime, I already assume, and I get that the current climate gives you pause, but I already assume that these cameras are able to see a lot of things that we don't even, or used in ways that we have no idea. But in that they are a great crime-fighting tool, I would still be okay with it. Even though I would have reservations because of the current climate.
I would not. I'm so tired of quote Big Brother. Just the cameras everywhere. And I get they want to lure us with the whole, but it's going to help us solve more crime, as if we've had no idea how to solve crime before we put cameras everywhere. I would be for it if they would agree to throw out the data, like it's gone. You disappear the data after 30 days, and you're not using it to get me for my expired plates or for something like that. In other words, you would have to only be using that data for solving a significant crime, not for checking me out on whether you didn't do a full stop at that stop sign. You didn't come to a complete stop. You didn't, your tab is expired by a month. No thanks. No. Just no.
I lean towards not putting them in now, just based on the fact that we have people, legal residents of the United States, who are being deported. We have students who are having visas canceled because they wrote something pro-Palestinian on social media. A couple weeks ago, we went to one of those 50-51 protests, and my wife, who works for a school, says, I don't think I'm going to post anything on social media about this. Yep. And I said, well, you shouldn't be worried because you're not a federal employee. But if I was a federal employee, I certainly want to post on social media, because they currently are cycling through federal employees' social media to say, hey, what are you supporting? Are you all in on the Trump administration, or have you said anything against us? And we're in day 100. Like the whole idea and danger of our data being out there is always an authoritarian state. And I see, honestly, the United States moving in that direction, and this gives me real pause.
So what are we willing to do? What are you willing to do?
What am I willing to do? Let's see. Fully fund law enforcement, support every recruiting effort, but I don't want a federal dragnet that ICE can tap into at any time, or Homeland Security if they decide that, hey, if you support a Palestinian cause or you say something against the president and you're a member of the media or you're a whistleblower, then you're a target for prison or deportation or threats of criminal proceedings against you. Like, I do not sign me up for any system that's like that. But I completely understand the opposite side of that too. Angela, I don't know why I'm asking this question, but I'm going to ask it. It's yours. Is it time to stop showing women slapping men on television? Can you explain?
Yes. Okay. I am so frustrated. We know that hitting your partner is wrong. It's domestic violence. But somehow it has been normalized when a woman hits a man. So Saturday Night Live on Saturday night re-aired an episode with Jason Momoa. And in it, the comedian is slapping him several times. They're playing partners, like husband and wife, and she slaps him. And then, the danger in normalizing this is men do deal with abuse. And then you have men who don't feel empowered because I'm supposed to just take this because I'm seen as weak if I do something about it. And they can get in a lot of trouble if they do something about it. I just think if we want to reinforce that it's wrong, then nobody can do it. Not a woman, not a man, not anything on the spectrum. Like, nobody needs to be hitting anybody else, period. And I'm tired of TV shows glorifying it and acting like this is normal. It's not.
I'm just going to I'd be hard-pressed to try to make an argument in favor of, let's just keep allowing women to slap men. I mean,
you slap Mark around.
No. That's just it. We're a couple we've been married for 30 plus years.
Right.
And I can count on 3 fingers the number of times we've raised our voices. I mean, it's just not been, we don't have a particularly contentious relationship. But that said, I agree with you. Like this, it's wrong, period. And the idea that men don't deal with domestic violence that's been proven wrong too.
Oh, someone said, why slap a man when you can throw a drink in his face? That's another one. They're kind of tongue-in-cheek on this, but we see that too. And the point is, they would never show it the opposite way on television unless it was in the context of domestic violence and showing it's wrong or a part of the story.
But the other way around, it's seen as funny.
Well, I don't know, because I don't personally see that to be threatening, because the vast majority of circumstances in which I see a woman slap a man on TV is when he's, quote, getting fresh, right? like trying to round a base he's not allowed to, or saying something vicious or awful, and it's usually in a public. I don't see it being used in some sort of domestic abuse is okay kind of way. So I guess I'm wondering where the problem is. Was the particular scene that you saw, was it just a man just getting slapped because...
Yeah, he wasn't coming on to her doing anything inappropriate. I think it might have been something he said or he didn't get something. So I'm going to slap you. I can't remember all the details. But I guess I'm struggling to understand why you're struggling, because it's so black and white to me. Like, regardless of what a person, unless you're trying to defend yourself, which I don't know if it would look like a slap, whatever it is, unless you're trying to defend yourself.
Yeah, if you're
what reason is there?
That's a whole different
That's a whole different conversation. Yeah. I mean, if you were, so are you saying there's a reason for a man to hit a woman then? Yeah, if she got a little fresh.
No.
Or if she tried to do...
I'm saying, like, if you say something particularly nasty as a man to a woman and I get a backhand for it or I get a slap to the face, okay. Like, it's not going to knock my head off. It might make me think about doing it again.
I'm still not going to resort to physical violence.
I know you two wouldn't, but there's a lot of people who would, right? And in the same way that if I say something awful to another man, there's a reasonable expectation that I'm going to get punched, right? That we have that expectation, right? That men who say something horrible to another man, there's a good chance you'll get punched, and we accept that, right?
No, Will Smith got banned.
Okay, I suppose that was a little bit different of a public situation.
Yeah,
but
I think bottom line is I just don't think we should be advocating physical violence unless you are physically being attacked.
But you don't mind
to defend yourself.
Yeah.
But in this case, you're not even talking about that. You're talking about just, oh, ha ha, bam.
Yeah, but I think even in real life, I don't think women should slap their partners.
Agreed.
I think if we want to create a world where that's not how we interact, no matter what is said, I think it has to apply to everybody.
Yes.
But
this requires some rewiring of my brain, because as a guy, we're taught that walking away from something is a cowardly thing to do, even if it's the smart thing to do. And there are some women who are more combative than others. You know, I know you're not acculturated to like hitting people, but as a guy, it's kind of the expectation.
That you just take it.
You let him do that. But I see your point. There is some normalizing of the behavior.
Hey, just on a point that we made earlier about the flock data that we were talking about with the video, someone from 360 texted in and said, federal agencies do not have access to flock data from Washington departments unless that agency specifically opts to share it with them or pursuant to a search warrant. Washington state law prohibits departments from sharing information with federal agencies for the purpose of immigration enforcement.
If you have a search warrant, though, they can access it. Period.
So there you go. Okay, coming up next, we are going to talk about this beef between Wendy's and one of the newly crowned astronauts from that space flight.
Where's the beef?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that was bad.
We'll have some fun with it. That's coming up next on the Gee and Ursula Show.
This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes.
KIRO Newsradio, your home for the John Curley Show. Weekdays from 3 to 7 p.m.
The economy is like a machine. You have two levers. You can push the lever forward, you can make money cheap, and then people buy and they invest. Then the economy really starts cooking. Well, it starts cooking so much inflation can come in there as well. You pull that lever back, and now you increase the cost to borrow, which slows the economy down, and it just basically puts the brakes on everything.
Streaming live on your smart speaker.
Attention community heroes. We have a mission to improve food security 1 hour at a time. G. Scott here. Please join me, Safeway and Albertsons, by participating in the Nourishing Neighbors Million Hour Volunteer Rally to improve food security by donating your time and skills. We have a set goal of 1 million volunteer hours by caring people like you. Support your local food banks by volunteering to host a food drive or fundraiser so they can better serve your community in need. Safeway and Albertsons have made it easy to learn how and where you can help at their website. On top of that, you could potentially win free groceries for a year and a $5,000 donation to your hunger relief agency of choice. To learn more, find volunteer opportunities, and log your hours, visit albertsons.com/volunteer. Just a bit of time by a lot of great people gets us closer to creating food-secure communities, 1 hour at a time. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Andre. Andre, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
My wife and I were going to get married, and we wanted to combine our insurance for both home and auto.
Were they able to save you any money?
The money they quoted us was actually the same as what we were paying separately. However, the coverage that we received was immensely greater than what we were previously receiving. It's quite scary how unprotected we were with our previous coverage. Under First Mark, I'd probably say we doubled the coverage that we had. It was a huge deal.
What would you tell others they can expect when they make that call to First Mark?
Take the 15-minute phone call. It's totally free. It's not going to cost me a thing. And the very least that could happen is just gain a better understanding. The best that could happen is you could either save money or get much better coverage, which is exactly what happened.
Andre did it. My family did it. You got to do it, and it's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge today. See how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
It may be the most noble profession.
Come on.
It's the work of heroes.
Heroes?
You want to live without plumbing?
Well, no.
Then you need plumbers.
Right.
Thing is, so do I.
You need plumbers.
Smiles, actually.
Smiling plumbers?
Or someone who smiles and wants to become an Apollo plumber.
A smile. That's what it takes?
Skills are something we can teach.
Sure.
But a positive attitude comes from within.
That's a big part of being an Apollo plumber.
The biggest part.
What else?
A desire to learn and serve.
Just like every Apollo plumber.
As they learn, so shall they earn.
Earn?
Apollo plumbers can earn 6 figures.
Enough to make me smile.
We believe you get what you give.
Give a smile.
And Apollo service.
Get a smile.
A well-paid smile.
Driving one of those big blue Apollo trucks.
That's the goal.
Does seem pretty noble.
It's important, satisfying work.
And you're looking now?
There's always room for another smile around here.
On the Apollo Plumbing team.
Apply at apolloplumbing.com.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. They've performed over 80,000 successful lens replacement surgeries. At Sharp Vision, you'll get the best price combined with the best experience. Sharp-vision.com. That's sharp with an E, -vision.com.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check. Visit revivemenshealth.com. That's Revive, REVIBE, menshealth.com.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
See the new phase of premium view lots at Natchez RV Resort, and they start at just $80,000. Don't miss your opportunity to get first pick. Reserve your showing now. 800-422-6009. NatchezRVResort.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
CBS News special report. The Vatican has just announced that Pope Francis died from a stroke early this morning. It had yet to reveal the cause. In St. Peter's Square, crowds began gathering after word of his death.
It's a moment of a bit of sadness and at the same time thankfulness and celebration of life.
Papal contributor Candida Moss on the Pope's legacy.
He introduced much stricter policies on sex abuse scandal and on the legacy of those scandals throughout the world. And he has been a tireless humanitarian voice, pushing powerful nations to care for immigrants and the poor.
President Trump paid tribute today after ordering flags flown at half-staff.
He was a good man, worked hard. He loved the world, and it's an honor to do that.
The Pope's last public appearance was just yesterday for an Easter blessing and a tour of St. Peter's Square in the Pope Mobile. He was 88. CBS News special report. I'm Cammie McCormick.
And I'm Heather Bosch in Seattle, where people are remembering the Pope.
Outside St. James Cathedral, Seattle mourned the loss of the People's Pope.
It's just really sad. I think he was a good Pope.
I'm definitely going to look into what memorials are going on.
I just said some prayers right away, just right away to for his repose of his soul, to make sure he gets to where he needs to be.
In a statement, the Archdiocese of Seattle called the last public appearance by Pope Francis on Easter Sunday a wonderful gift to the world. In Seattle, Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
A candlelight vigil will be held tonight at Seattle's Garfield High School for a student who was fatally shot in Yakima over the weekend. That's what the PTSA tells the Capitol Hill blog. 18-year-old Salvador Granillo was a senior at the high school. This is the second spring in a row the school has lost a student to gun violence. 17-year-old Amar Murphy Payne was fatally shot last year while trying to break up a fight. No arrests in either case. Financial markets take a nosedive. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger explains.
Before the markets opened, in a post on Truth Social, the president called Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell a loser and demanded that the Fed lower interest rates immediately. The president and some of his advisors are continuing to explore whether to fire Jerome Powell, something that would be unprecedented.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 1,189 points. NASDAQ is off 551. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk in North Bend, a crash is blocking 2 lanes of westbound I-90 near State Route 202. In Renton, the crash has been cleared from I-405 northbound at State Route 900. Your backup is from about State Route 169 on 405 down to Southwest 41st Street on 167. Travel time Renton to Bellevue, 33 minutes, still about 15 longer than typical. Traffic brought to you by Seattle Sports. You can always listen to your favorite local sports content on the FM dial on 97.3 HD2. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Partly cloudy skies today with highs in the upper 50s. It's 50 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out today. Angela Poe Russell is in, and it is another day to avoid looking at your 401k. I see that the Dow fell 1,000 points today. Everything taking a nosedive. And CBS business analyst Jill Schlesinger says this is all because of a posting on social media by President Trump, who is continuing to criticize Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. So in case you don't know, according to a Supreme Court ruling that dates back nearly 100 years, the Fed chair can only be forced out or fired for cause.
Jerome Powell has been steadfast in his assertion that presidents may not legally fire or demote the Fed chair, and he also said he would not step down if asked to do so. Powell's term as Fed chair is up in July of 2026. He remains a Fed governor until January of 2028.
So on social media, the president called Jerome Powell a major loser. He is demanding that the central bank lower its key interest rate to boost the economy. Last week, a top White House advisor said that the administration is looking into whether they could actually fire Powell, which, of course, would undermine the Fed's independence, and that would just send shockwaves through the global financial markets, which it sounds like it's happening right now.
You ever encounter people who are just always looking for the workaround? Always looking for the way that they can get over on something. How can we bend the rules in our direction? I just hate that. This isn't, obviously it's President Trump's words that led to the stock market tumble today, but it's also actions. I can't remember. I know we've had a long holiday weekend, but it was just last week when Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, spoke and said, hey, these tariffs are going to impact inflation. It's going to drive up inflation and prohibit growth. So that just happened late last week, him saying that, and that impacted the stock market. Tariffs haven't all of a sudden gone away. So, we're already starting to see this. I love and I hate. I love that we are hearing from people details of how they are directly being impacted. It's helped me understand a lot of industries better. And I hate that it's happening to them.
Right. The reality is for some people who are thinking of retiring in the next couple of years, when you say don't look at your 401k, it's easier to do if you don't have to worry about it for many, many more years.
And some of us put our head in the sand.
Right, exactly.
It's like, I'm trying to retire.
But any case, I just wanted to touch on that because that is happening right now.
It's a big story today.
It is a big story.
And there's a lot of other stuff happening. But you know what?
Let's talk about
lighten it up.
Let's talk about this beef between Wendy's and Katy Perry because okay, what was your take on that whole space flight? You heard our discussion on the air.
It infuriates me the way people are attacking this trip. Number one, there were real astronauts on board with amazing stories and amazing work histories that they should be applauded. It was overshadowed by these. The military, the U.S. military takes celebrities up all the time on rides. And they do that to get publicity of the work that they're doing. So those celebrities spread the word. Blue Origin's flight would not have gotten all of that publicity if Gayle King and Katy Perry had not been on board. Full stop. That's just the truth.
It is the truth.
Blue Origin is doing great work. They're based here. And all of this publicity helps the company. And you would argue that Elon Musk is getting all this free publicity by being part of the Trump administration. So I see this as the competitor firing back saying, hey, how do I get myself in the news?
Right. So Wendy's injected itself because Katy Perry had posted that she was happy to be back on Earth. And then Wendy's posted, hey, is there a way we can get her back into space? It was
like, can we send her back?
Yeah, can we send her?
That was the comment. Can we send her back?
Yeah, it was very snarky.
I can't wait to jump in on this.
Okay,
we'll finish your thought.
Apparently, this thing, People Magazine is now saying that Wendy's posts on X, formerly Twitter, went too far. Wendy's didn't make a joke. They made a choice. They're quoting a source who's close to the situation. It might be Katy Perry herself, but I think her feelings were hurt. And so, the question is, should Wendy's apologize?
Absolutely, they should apologize. And I'm going to tell you why. Bigger picture, it's sad that people are so desperate for likes and shares, they are willing to post anything. Everyone's trying to be clever. Everyone's trying to be demure and cutesy, and you end up making stupid decisions. Wendy's in general has great social media. This was a miss, and they just need to acknowledge that. The other one they posted was actually good. They showed Katy Perry kissing the ground, and they said she kissed the ground and she liked it. Kind of like a play on I Kissed a Girl. I think that's a fair, funny joke.
Yes.
But then telling someone just snarky, can we send her back? It's mean-spirited. I think if they care about their business and credibility and integrity, they should have. Sometimes when you're doing all this social media stuff, you get stuff wrong.
So what
Just acknowledge
Wendy's
it.
Yeah, so what Wendy's is saying now, okay, so because I agree with you, it's a $1 billion brand, and someone said they're using this $1 billion brand, using the platform to publicly demean a woman. And a lot of people were taking issue that it was an all-female space crew, and now they're astronauts. And, I mean, we're in the minority when it comes to saying, hey, appreciate it for what it was. And people are saying it's tone deaf, et cetera. And I understand some of that sentiment. However, Wendy says, we always bring a little spice to our socials, and we have a ton of respect for Katy Perry and her out-of-this-world talent, but that's as far as they're going to go.
Yeah, I think they're wrong. I think they should apologize. And I'm going to actually do something that hardly ever gets done. I want to defend Amazon and Jeff Bezos for a minute.
Oh.
Ready? Here you go.
Yes.
Okay. I have personally seen the impact that Amazon has had on this community, the way they donate to various nonprofits, more than I've seen from any other tech company other than Microsoft. You do not see the same. They are one of the few companies that will hire you if you've been a convicted felon. My brother is one of them who had a DUI, struggled to find a job. Amazon, the only place that would hire him. And guess what? He just got promoted after doing great work.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so yes, you can go about your billionaires and all they're wasting money. I would say if we just compare the pool here, he's actually not the worst ones, not among the worst ones. And he's actually doing some good stuff in various communities. Mary's Place will tell you that.
Yeah, I agree.
And you do. I'm telling you, you don't. I do a ton of nonprofit events a year.
Yes, you
Amazon
do.
is a frequent sponsor. You see Microsoft in there, and that's not the same I can say for some other tech companies.
Well, and you know what? You know who appreciates you? Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
Well,
right
I've
now.
been critical. You can find videos where I've been highly critical of Jeff Bezos. I mean, I'm not saying there should be free from criticism, but I'm saying that the big deal we are making of this because they did a flight and bringing publicity to this locally based company.
Right.
I think we got bigger fish to fry, as we would say down south.
I love it. 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. What a refreshing voice. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, still ahead, we hear ya and our words to live by. This is the Gee and Ursula Show with Angela Poe Russell.
Chicken Spike, noon to 3.
There's a movement in San Francisco to give speeding tickets based on income.
Various countries in Europe do the same mentality because they feel that a $50 ticket to a guy who makes $18 million a year is nothing.
Norway, 10% of the driver's annual income.
Yeah.
Speeding fine.
If you make $300,000 in Norway, which a lot more people do, $30,000 ticket.
Excessive speeding has a mandatory 18-day jail sentence.
I don't think it's fair to charge people more because they make more, but there has to be consequences.
Streaming live on the KIRO Newsradio app.
All right, keep up. It's me, the radar gun at T-Mobile Park. And these Mariners pitchers have me working overtime. 3 all-star aces, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, and George Kirby throwing absolute gas.
Holy smokes, what a performance. Strikeout number 10 on the night.
And don't forget about Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, the young guns. Those guys get me fired all the way up.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
And just when you think you've survived, here comes Andres Munoz dialing up triple digits and shutting the door. Oh boy, I'm giddy just thinking about it.
Back-to-back strikeouts, and the ball game is over.
Trust me, you're going to want to grab a seat and feel the speed for yourself. And there they go again. I got to make sure my batteries are charged. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Check out what's on deck at T-Mobile Park. Mother's Day weekend is coming up May 9th to 11th, and a Mariners game is the perfect place to celebrate. As part of the fun, the first 10,000 moms will score a clear purse on Sunday the 11th, thanks to Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Then don't miss a showdown against the Yankees May 12th to 14th. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Have you heard the saying, chuck in a truck? The guy running a roofing company out of his messy pickup? Well, here's the scary part. Washington doesn't require a test or experience to be a licensed roofer, and they definitely don't require a brick and mortar location. Chuck could be working out of his apartment with 0 employees, hiring random guys off the street. Yikes. And the SBA says 90% of roofers are out of business within 5 years. Jim here, Chief Roof Nerd at RoofSmart, where we do things right. We have a real location on Central Avenue in Kent and a team of 50 full-time roofing pros who actually know what they're doing. We're not some fly-by-night outfit. We've put down roots, or in our case, a cement foundation, so you'll always know where to find us. No disappearing acts, no cut corners, just top-quality work from people you can trust. That's RoofSmart. Come see for yourself, or call us at 206-487-4877, or visit us online at GetRoofSmart.com. That's 206-487-4877 or GetRoofSmart.com.
Hey, it's John Curley for Closets by Design. Our closets were a mess, so I called Closets by Design. They came in and did exceptional work. Now, they're locally owned, and they've been operating for more than 2 decades. I love these guys. A family-run business with national backing, and they source almost all their products right here in Washington. Have Closets by Design come out and customize your closet. Right now, 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18 months financing and free installation. 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. The process was simple and easy. I scheduled my free consultation and discovered I was at the early stage of cataracts and a perfect candidate for RLE. They restored clarity and brightness to my vision like when I was in my 20s, and I'll never need readers again and never develop cataracts. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens are taking RLE surgery to the next level. Call them now at 425-451-2020 or go online to sharp-vision.com, official eye care provider of Sounders FC.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-371-0505. 800-371-0505.
In the market for a new car, Carter Subaru has the vehicle you've been searching for with over 300 new ones in stock, including the 2025 Outback now with 2.9% financing for 36 months, or go electric with the 2025 Solterra EV, 0% APR for 72 months on approved credit. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at their Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 4/30/25.
And just like that, we are at the end of our Monday edition of the Gee and Ursula Show with Angela Poe Russell today. Angela, you get first honors reading our text messages.
I am not able to get in it for some reason. It says that you're in. Yeah, so I think I just need to be able to get in.
You can hit the browse button.
Oh, is that what I do?
Yeah, so right click and browse. Okay, I'll start with one of our top stories was the 4 SPD officers who attended the January 6th rally, and they are hoping the Supreme Court is going to protect their names from being released. TJ in Shelton says they're afraid of the random weirdos that will harass them or their families. I feel like if they didn't violate policy, then the names should not be released.
Sue on the Cedar River says, sorry, but they were there to say they supported the idea that the election was stolen.
Ernie in Kent says, if you're so proud about what you did, then why be ashamed? Put your name on it.
360, they attended a public rally. They let their political beliefs be known. They weren't afraid of what their community thought then. Why are they so afraid of their names being released now?
On the gunshots during the protest on Whidbey Island, TJ in Shelton says, I think discharging firearms should only be in designated areas, not residential, not even rural residential. A gun range or public forest area would be better.
Kevin in Seattle, we were at Green Lake Way and 50th. The support from passing motorists was amazing. I deplore the property damage of Teslas, but it was funny when the crowd cheered a tow truck driver who passed by towing one.
On Seattle, slashing the number of tents from over 1,500 to now just over 200. But the homeless are still here and the shelter space is dropping. Renee says, so the powers that be buckled under the voices of the moneyed and powerful to rid the city of the quote-unquote undesirables, but where are they supposed to go? No emergency shelters, but be patient for a couple of years and maybe you can feel safe again. I call BS.
253 feels similarly, sounds like cleaning up the tents without providing additional housing is so Seattle, where liberal values stop at the end of your driveway. The city looks nice for FIFA next year, while the homeless remain hidden so nothing gets done. Boy, those are well said from those two in terms of stating their opinion. Yes.
On the police and firefighters putting in massive overtime so they can pad their pension pay. 206 says it's the same pension retirement plan structure for school bus drivers. Not all school bus drivers will take the OT. A lot of them will just do their normal schedule. They're tired. They're old. They don't want to work extra hard. But some of them will work hard the last 5 years to get all the hours that they can in order to bump their retirement. I say good for them if you want to work that extra hard.
Aaron and Puyallup, this happens in the teachers union too. Lots of soon-to-be retirees coaching and taking extra responsibilities.
On King County voters deciding whether to fund the fingerprint ID system for law enforcement, Jesus says, I know how they could pay for it. Manage overtime better.
Tying back to the other stories. That's clever. 425, one of the reasons public agencies have to keep coming back to ask for a renewal is because of the fallout from Initiative 747 in 2001. As home values increase, the taxing districts collect less and less and have to go back to the public.
John in Snohomish, I think, makes a great point. The Democrats could really make some noise if they would find some areas where they could save us money and publicize the living daylights out of it. Give the people what they want. Sure would be easier to ask for money if occasionally they saved us some.
That's actually brilliant.
It is.
If the only time you come to us is to with your hand out versus saying, hey, guess what we did? Have a press conference. Oh, John.
I'm still waiting for Governor Ferguson to prove me right, but I think that's what he's doing, saying, look for areas to cut first before I even ask for an increase.
Yeah. Do we have time for a couple more? Okay, grocery prices. TJ and Shelton, I've given up a lot of fresh food and I'm feeling it. My breakfast lunch today, red beans, black eyed peas, and brown rice. I can't afford it. Everything is now great value brand from Walmart. A bag of items, no matter what I buy, seems to run $80. It's crazy. Patiently waiting for garden season.
Mac in Bellevue says, the McDonald's app gives away food all the time at really good old school prices, only when you order from their app. For example, 2 sausage McMuffins with egg, hash browns, and a drink for under $7.
Wow.
Although they have great deals, I had to delete the app because it's not healthy. I know, they always ask about that. Do you have the app? Do you have the app?
I probably should start getting it, I guess, if you go to some of these places regularly. Sue says a taco time meal is over $10 now.
I remember when they were like closer to $5. Okay, on the scenarios, a lady called out my outfit in Walmart. My boyfriend did nothing. Nathan from Lake Stevens says, I guarantee that nobody is getting away with talking to my wife or my daughters like that in front of me.
Yeah, Mac and Bellevue, should your partner intervene when someone starts an altercation with your partner? Absolutely walk away or face the consequences when it turns physical. When the police shows up, they will not take sides and everyone could be charged with the crime.
I should point out that Mac is in law enforcement, so that's probably great advice.
Yeah.
Okay, and now it is time for Words to Live By, and I'm going to quote Samuel Goldwyn here. I love quotes about integrity. Having integrity means being completely true to what is inside you, to what you know is right, what you feel you must do, regardless of the immediate cost of sacrifice, to be honorable and to behave decently.
So even when they're you have to sacrifice.
Sometimes.
Because if it were easy, everyone would do it.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to make that tough decision.
Well, it's easy call to go to Nick, right?
Yes.
Nick.
All right. Well, I'm hoping Easter weekend was a decent time for all, whether festive to the max or keeping family gatherings small. But no need to start your harder discipline on kids this day. You can wait a bit to take their Easter candy all away. That way, there's less chance of some drama boiling up from grief, like with Wendy dissing Katy Perry starting up some beef. Where's the beef, you ask? Well, there it is, Wendy.
Okay, let's stir up some beef. What's your favorite candy in the Easter basket?
Ooh, it's going to be anything chocolate. So I would say like the Kit Kat or the Almond Joy. So something with nut, chocolate, coconut. Yes.
Chef?
You know what? I actually really like deviled eggs. I don't like the candy in the basket. I'm not a candy dude.
I love deviled eggs.
Yeah, my dad made some really good deviled eggs.
Really?
Ate a ton.
Oh, see, now I'm craving them.
Give me the Reese's peanut butter eggs, but not the Cadbury eggs. Do not give me the Cadbury.
No peeps.
What about you?
No
What do
peeps.
you get into?
I like the chewy, fruity candies.
Okay,
Funny enough.
All right. So kind of like a little sour hint to it.
Yeah. Okay, the Jake and Spike Show is coming up next. Stay with us.
Hope you have as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
My dog beat me on the leg today. My cat clawing my eyes. Mom's been thrown out of the social circle, and Dad has to hide. I went to church incognito when everybody rose. Reverend Smithy, he recognized me.
KIRO Newsradio, your home for the John Curley Show.
You take the money from the guy that made the money because somehow he doesn't deserve all of that money, and you give it to the government, and then they redistribute it to everybody. How is wealth created from that? It is never created. We are all richer because these people, they came up with some pretty cool ideas that we all benefit from. Most of these guys didn't set out to be billionaires, but they set out to do was solve a problem.
Find podcasts and more at mynorthwest.com.
Greetings, Boomtown. Ever since this neighborhood switched to Xfinity Internet,
the Wi-Fi is booming!
Xfinity combines the power of internet and mobile with one all-in plan.
So we've all got lightning-fast, secure Wi-Fi speeds at home and on the go with Wi-Fi Power Boost from Xfinity Mobile.
You get the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best in-class equipment and unlimited data included. Plus, add an unlimited mobile line.
All for only $40 a month for 1 year. To celebrate this combo, we're mashing our shows together.
It's everything you need all in one plan. Plus, learn how to get a free 5G phone with a premium unlimited line. Now, sit back and relax with the smooth, relaxing sound
of face-melting acid metal!
Brilliant.
Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Ends June 23rd with paperless billing and autopay to stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet gateway required. Texas fees extra. After 1 year rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years regular rates apply. Actual Wi-Fi speeds vary. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed broadband experience report August 2024.
Dave Ross with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. And Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar this Thursday at 6 p.m. to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And remind us which joints you've had the best success with.
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even